Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, guys? Happy 2026. Do me a favor, hit that like button as you guys come in. Say what's up in the chat. Say where you're watching from. Happy 2026, everybody. Happy New Year, everybody. New Year. New Year. How many of you guys like New Year's? Happy 2026, everybody. Happy New Year. Shout out to you guys. As you come in the chat, hit that like button. Say where you're watching from. Say what's up in the chat. Be interactive in the chat. Chat rules. Keep your comments short, respectful, cordial, straight to the point. Don't flag the AI mod because it be wilding out. That I took my mouse out. My wireless mouse. I need my wireless mouse. Alright, guys, so got a couple clips to get into for our first live stream in 2026. Are you guys excited about 2026? I know I am. It's a new year. New year, that means new madness, right? Alright, but also new blessing, so I'm with it. Let me pull up the history right now. Alright, so we got a couple clips to jump into tonight. Let's see if I like to go by title. So let's see. First up, we got some Somali fraud. We got Heavy Duty Country covering that. So shout out to him. Americans are getting played, and we are pissed off about it. Then we got Zohran Mamdani getting sworn in as mayor of New York City. Myron Gaines. So normally Myron drives me a little bit crazy. I'm not going to lie. And I've been honest about that on the chat. I don't have nothing against Myron personally. It's just some of his takes drive me a little nuts. But we're going to be reacting to Myron. The dark truth about Kai Cenat's breakup nobody is discussing. So I had to give Myron his flowers here. I really did. Like, I'm just going to say it how it is. Because when I heard him talking, I instantly said to myself, I said, I wonder how old Myron is. And the reason why I said that is because I said he kind of sounds like a millennial. If not a millennial, someone a little bit older. And of course I was right. And that's just because of some of the things he said about Kai Cenat, his journey. You know, why, like him dealing with mental health and depression, why he's kind of getting clowned and made fun of. Because people kind of really don't want to hear about it with all of the things that he has in his life and all of the things that he's accomplished. And I said, you know what? Myron actually made a really good point here. So we're going to talk about this. So I got that in the clips. We got President Trump's CT scan. I think at first they were saying it was an MRI, and then Trump came forward and said it was just a CT scan. We got a couple of other things. 58-year-old man says he wants to end it after losing $80,000 in life savings, and that was due to a crypto scam. And then we got, shout out to Chris Cuomo, so controversial, but I love Chris Cuomo sometimes. He's got 5 predictions that will define 2026. He made some pretty decent points there. We got Brian Tyler Cohen news. Trump changes USPS rule that will impact mail ballots, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so mail-in ballots. This is going to be interesting. And then Fox News clips covered very serious. 2 NFL stars face heinous allegations against women. So we got Stephon Diggs being one of them. Allegations are not looking good. Antonio Talks. 30 is not old. So shout out to Antonio Talks, channel favorite. We react to Antonio often here. He's 25, I think he said in this video. But just talking about how he's creeping towards 30 and the feeling about it. I loved his how he cross-referenced like basically the average age that a slave would live during the time of slavery, to how 30 feels old to like a decent amount of black people, and how he noticed his white counterparts don't really consider 30 years old as old, which they really don't. It's funny. I've watched plenty of podcasts where I've watched like younger white men talking, and they're like 24 or 27. They're like, I'm just a kid, and I'm thinking to myself, no, you're absolutely not. But I guess that's weird. So yeah, all the things, guys. So we're gonna jump right in. Like I said, guys, be respectful in the chat. Share your opinion. You guys know I love that over here. We're not gonna censor you, but you get disrespectful, you already know what's gonna happen. Keep it cordial. Keep it respectful. Keep it short. Don't flag the AI mod. Hit the like button, and yeah, let's get right into the first clip of the live stream. So we're gonna start out with Heavy Duty Country. Shout out to him. Americans are getting played, and we are pissed off. So this is in reference to some Somali fraud.
The Wonder Oven Pro is an 8-in-1 non-toxic air fryer toaster oven. Now with
the shooting video that folks, Blackout Coffee, one of the longest time sponsors here. We absolutely love them. They got a big sale going on right now. They got a bunch of awesome shirts. It's going to be below. So we paid a ton of money for them. Depending on when this one goes out, we've got another one coming out with frangible rounds. Y'all love the shooting video that we did on Charlie Kirk so much, by the way. Depending on when this one goes out, we've got another one coming out with frangible rounds. Yes, we found them. Yes, we paid a ton of money for them, but it's going to be worth it. But we're starting a shooting channel. Me and a buddy. Link to that channel is going to be below. Us testing frangible 30-06 rounds, which is just a wild thing to even say. Why would you even want those? Is going to be on that channel. So make sure you're subscribed. It's going to be an awesome one. So folks, depending on when this gets out, it's either the end of the year or New Year's. And if it's New Year's, Happy New Year. Hopefully this year is better than last. That's not going to take much. But at the end of the year, there's one thing that comes to everybody's mind, and it's taxes. It's not a happy thought. It's usually, oh, dude, it's time to do that again. It'd be great if we just had a certain time in America where we didn't pay taxes. Now, why do we hate paying taxes other than just paying them in general? Maybe it's because we give so many of them to other countries. So, while this whole Charlie Kirk thing has been going on, check this out. The House recently passed a massive $900 billion defense bill in December of 2025, which includes significant funding and support for Israel, especially for missile defense like Iron Dome and enhancing defense tech, alongside aid for Ukraine. Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's exactly what we want to see at the end of our year. Just shove off more money into other countries instead of, I don't know, take care of some of the stuff that we can fix here with not that much money. Okay? I'm just going to put this up for everybody really quick. All right, so I got Chat GPT up here. Would you look at that? First one. Fix the border and immigration system. $100 to $150 billion. Finish physical barriers and advanced surveillance where it actually works. Yeah. Where are we at with that? Where are we at with mass deportations? We'll get to that in a second. End veteran homelessness and transform VA care. Wouldn't that be a great thing? $50 to $75 billion. This is not that much money. We are paying every single year into our government trillions of dollars in taxes. And it takes $50 to $75 billion to end veteran homelessness and transform VA care. But we're sending it to Israel and Ukraine. Rebuild infrastructure, fix healthcare, fix education, restore public safety in major cities, $50 to $75 billion. Everybody gets the point. And to end the year off, we find out that there is another leak of our tax dollars. By the way, the Pentagon has failed another test as far as accounting goes.
There's a creative side hustle almost nobody is talking about, and it's not content creation, being a YouTuber or a streamer or freelance.
Imagine that. The hell do you guys do? So here we go. This is insane.
Nutrition program into their personal bank account. The defendants, many of Somali descent, turned a federal child nutrition program into their personal bank account and wire transfers, moving the stolen taxpayer money to China and East Africa. Another alleged fraud scheme is raising red flags, this time in Maine, and it bears striking similarities to the case in Minnesota. In this instance, a Somali American, Dr. Abdullah Ali, the executive director of Gateway Community Services, is accused of defrauding the state's Medicaid program.
You should be able to rob taxpayers of millions of dollars and just get away with it.
Critics accusing regional leadership of...
Oh, I'm sorry, that's funny. I mean, isn't that what our government does to us every single day? Now it's just Somalians. Add Somalians to the damn list, and then we'll just, I don't know, we'll just keep making a list until every single American just pretty much says, fuck it, move to Colombia. We start our own country. We'll call it...
And some people think that heavy duty country is being like overzealous here, but this is what he means when he says Americans are being pissed off. First of all, I literally watched a YouTube short, right, from one of the people who we react to here on the channel often. Shout out to Cliff Buell, right? So you have a gentleman calling. This is one of the young guy who was there. I can't remember his name. Chad, if you remember his name, put it in the chat. Young dude. He was in front of some of the daycare centers, and he was like going out there like investigating the fraud, and like some lady with the phone was calling him ICE and stuff like that. I forgot his name. I don't remember if it's Shirley or something like that. But Andy, I can't remember. But if you guys remember his name, put it in the chat, right? But I watched a YouTube short where someone was calling a Somali daycare center in Minnesota, and the daycare center's number went straight to Tim Walsh's office. So I thought to myself, really, like, this is like, and this is why I was so disgusted, because I'm like, we were about to put, like, not we, because I wasn't, but there were Americans that really were about to make this guy the vice president of the United States. And you have a Somali daycare center telephone number going to Tim Walsh's office. I don't know what else to say about that. Like, what are we supposed to, why would that number be going to Tim Walsh's office? But I digress. And this is the reason why heavy duty countries say Americans are pissed off, because you're starting to see, like, hey, there's some government involvement here, right? Some of our politicians that are supposed to be meaning us well are doing some shady-ish in the background, right? And it's starting to come to light. Hence, a Somali daycare center's number going to Tim Walsh's office.
USA number 2. Here's a guy talking about the fraud in the Midwest.
Bro, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I knew about the Somali shit 20 years ago. I had my son 20 years ago. I went to go get Section 8. Drove down to the Section 8 office in Columbus, Ohio, and guess who the fuck I seen? All Somalis in the parking lot. They was there for 8 hours already. Had tents and shit, vans. They had fucking tents. They had their vans parked in the parking lot and made tents. It's first come, first serve when you go to get help from the government, when you need aid, when you need financial aid. First come, first serve. You gotta wait behind a fucking 100 Somalians. I'm American, bitch.
Check this out. Remember when Joe Biden so graciously had,
That's crazy. So from all of, like, that's what I'm saying. So from all of the immigration coming in, he says that I had my son this amount of time ago. He goes, I went there and they had been there 8 hours already. There's already tents there. He's like, it's first come, first serve. They had already been there like the night prior, hours prior. He's like, I have to wait behind 100 Somalis and I'm American. I'm like, do we get mad at him? No, we don't, of course. If it's first come, first serve, then it should it not be America first? See, this is where we have the America first and the MAGA fighting, because America first feels like MAGA does not understand what American first actually means. This gentleman that heavy duty country just played, he's displaying what America first means. If there's 100 Somalis in the line and I'm an American, I should still go first. Now, some of you guys might not like it. I mean, I get it. You know, it's my opinion. That's my perspective. And we all have that. I say that on the channel often. But I'm just saying, if we're in America, and it's first come, first serve, and I'm an American citizen, should I not get that benefit first? That's all I'm saying.
hired, I don't know how many IRS agents, 80-something thousand. I don't know what's been going on with that. But remember when they came out with the whole thing? If you get a transfer of over $600, you must report it to the IRS. Okay, this was for Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. Oh, sweet. But we've got Somalians ripping us off for billions of dollars. What are they even doing here? What are they doing here? Are they citizens? If the answer is no, you have non-citizens who were imported here to essentially vote Democrat. Let's just be honest. Then they're stealing our money. So they're like a second government, except they don't do anything for the country. And on top of it, they're here illegally. Do we call ourselves a country? Or is this just like a handout? Come to the soup kitchen, grab whatever you want. By the way, it's illegal for you to even be in here, but we'll look the other way. Also, if you could vote Democrat.
Visualize yourself at the end of the year. Where do you want to be? So this is how I use Claude to help me think different.
Thanks.
A bunch of old homeless dudes had an orgy in the car. Oh, God. Yeah. You know what that's called when they do?
And I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of people didn't like the whole analogy of like heavy duty country saying things like the soup kitchen and like, oh yeah, if you could come here, also vote Democrat. But it is what it is. Like he's being right about that. So
Do that in there? It's called a soup kitchen. It's pretty rough stuff.
And you expect Americans to do what? Oh, yes, Uncle Sam. You will definitely get my taxes on time. Oh, yes, Uncle Sam. My taxes will definitely not be redacted like the Epstein files. Is that what you expect? Like, where's the give and take? Or are we just in like a, guys, give us your money. We're the big government. So we know how to spend it. Okay, we know. We're the big government. Okay? And if you have a problem with it, just shut up. So look, I'm not a big Matt Walsh guy because he works for Ben Shapiro, and I think he should get his own show and stop working for Ben Shapiro. But he was very right on this point.
I actually agree to that. A lot of people feel like that about Matt Walsh. I don't have anything against Ben Shapiro, but maybe a lot of people feel like Matt Walsh should be more independent.
I was dumping on the Somalians way before it was cool. Am I proud of that? I absolutely am.
So by their numbers, Somalians contribute less than $900 a person to local and state taxes combined. I'm sure you understand that is incredibly low. That's actually lower than I thought it would be. I assumed that it would be something very low. But if you had asked me to guess, I would have said, oh, they probably, on average pay a couple thousand. I don't know. I was optimistic. I was dumping on the Somalians way before it was cool. Am I proud?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's minimum wage, right? I don't know. But it's not much money for an entire year of taxes. You know what's funny about this? This governor of Minnesota who ran for, vice president? Of course, he's the president of the state where they're doing this.
All right, so a lot of this fraud
Jackass.
in Minnesota is centered around daycares. And now there are claims...
This is so stupid, man. Daycare?
I'm just going to start showing you some of these examples here. But basically, Columbus is home to the nation's second largest Somali community behind Minnesota. There's about 60,000 Somali Americans in Columbus, and there's 500 Somali-owned businesses. And if you're not caught up on this, the FBI is now investigating this fraud in Minnesota. They say that it might reach up to $9 billion, one of the largest Medicaid frauds in American history. And federal officials have portrayed the Somali community as a hotspot for fraud.
Oh, my Lord. So I have an answer. Deport them all tomorrow, okay? Let's stop having meetings with Netanyahu and deport.
Now, it's like, that sounds pretty bad, right? But heavy duty country is not the only person that feels like that. So he just comes out and he's like, no, deport them all tomorrow. And there's a lot of people that do feel that way. So I mean, I know some of you guys are gonna say, well, that opinion sucks, that's too aggressive. But hey, as an American citizen, that's the way that he feels, because honestly, it's a bunch of BS that they're putting out there. It's a bunch of BS that they're giving us when it comes to this fraud. We're seeing daycare centers linked back to Tim Walz's office. We're seeing people going to daycare centers and asking, can they put their kid in there? And they're like, no, you can't put your kid in here. There are no kids here. There are no signing children. Come on, man. The American people are getting pissed off about it because we could see through the BS.
Deport all of the illegal. Oh, my.
Minnesota, they say the community behind Minnesota, there's about... I'm just going to start showing you some of these examples here. But basically, Columbus is home to the nation's second largest Somali community behind Minnesota. There's about 60,000 Somali Americans in Columbus, and there's 500 Somali-owned businesses. And if you're not caught up on this, the FBI is now investigating this fraud in Minnesota. They say that it might reach up to $9 billion, one of the largest Medicaid frauds in American history. And federal officials have portrayed the Somali community as a hotspot for fraud.
Oh, my Lord. So I have an answer. Deport them all tomorrow, okay? Let's stop having meetings with Netanyahu and deport all of the illegal immigrants tomorrow. You know, like the big threat Donald Trump made, like if you don't deport yourself, we're going to just send you wherever. Why don't we just send them all to some abandoned island somewhere and make them eat coconuts and fish for the rest of their life? No, it's cool because they're not white, so they can do this. Give me a break. So like I said, this is kind of the cherry on top of, the year. How many times has Netanyahu been to the White House this year? 5 times? Where's my invite? Come on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, dude, Netanyahu's been there. I think the only person that's been there as often as Netanyahu has been Zelensky. Like, it's kind of crazy. He's been there, and Zelensky has only been there maybe, 2 or 3 times. And one time he got kicked out. But Netanyahu's definitely been there 3 to 5 times at least.
I'll even dress the same as you, dude, because now that's what Netanyahu's doing. You guys look like twins. Is this what we're doing now? This is a show. Why don't you just get them a room? 5 times in 1 year? What else can we do for them? We give them billions of dollars of our tax money a year. I mean,
wow, I didn't even notice it. They actually do look like twins. That's crazy. They got the same.
And this is just a flip off to the American people at this point. Billions of dollars a year. We bombed Iran for them. We made a ceasefire between them and Hamas in order to get their hostages back, and they didn't keep it. They are still bombing Gaza. And here we are, as a couple of pals, man. Come on over. Dinner's on me. Wear the same tie. Stupid.
If they will continue with the missiles, yes. The nuclear, fast. Okay? One will be yes, absolutely. The other was, we'll do it immediately.
I don't even know what they're talking about. So like I said, we got to finish with this. This is, I'm getting pissed here. Keep it together here. Trump has him over to the White House again for whatever, their powwow, or to have crumpets and tea, or to just show the world that they're on the same dress code now. And Netanyahu awards him the Israel Prize. Why is it named like that? Why not the Israel Award? Why do you name it a prize? What's his prize? Is our prize that we don't have to give you any more tax dollars? Please tell me that's the prize. Is the prize that you fight your own wars? Please tell us that that's the prize. Is the prize that you stop killing kids in Gaza, or you actually obey the ceasefire? Is that our prize? Of course it's not. It's probably some medal.
Great friend, and I've been a great friend to you and to Israel. It's been my honor. And the award that I was given was really surprising and very much appreciated.
I have a question. Why is it always I? I've been a great friend to Israel. You wouldn't be doing anything without us, without the money that you send them. So why not we as the American people, not I? Stupid, man.
Appreciate it.
It doesn't matter who came up with this design. I bet 99% of people have never seen anything like it.
Well, President Trump has broken so many conventions to the surprise of people, and then they figure out, oh, well, maybe, he was right after all. So we decided to break a convention too, or create a new one, and that is to award the Israel Prize, which...
So are we just openly bragging that we're breaking rules here? Is that really the precedent you want to have set?
Yeah, and there's a few people that feels like that. They literally said, how is it that Netanyahu can say something like that and Trump doesn't, like that doesn't red flag the United States? Like, it's okay for Netanyahu to just say something like that and it's not a big deal. And I said, after all this research now that Candace has done, there are so many people now, it seems like now it's almost cool, right, to be anti-Israel. But there was one point in time where at that point, where if you did something like that, at that point you would literally be blacklisted if you did anything like that.
Is that really helping your reputation out at all? The answer is no.
In almost our 80 years, we've never awarded it to a non-Israeli, and we're going to award it this year to President Trump. This was announced formally over lunch by our Minister of Education, who's responsible for the Israel Prize. It's going to be awarded to President Donald J. Trump for his tremendous contributions to Israel and the Jewish people. I think there's it's such a fitting thing, and it would honor us, obviously, Mr. President, if you could visit Israel in that occasion on our Independence Day. But I have to say that this reflects the overwhelming sentiment of Israelis across the spectrum. They appreciate what you've done to help Israel and to help our common battle against the terrorists and those who would destroy our civilization. So, again.
Is anyone else pissed off right now? You know what this sounds like? This sounds like two dudes talking in their living room. You notice how everything was directed to Trump? Not to America, but to Trump. Bro, Trump wouldn't be able to do anything without us. It's all about money and power. The money gives him power. We give him power by being the strongest country on earth. We put him in office. So where is thank you to the American people? Where is that? You know, before we end this.
So I'm going to end this right here on Heavy Duty's part. You guys can go back to his channel, watch the rest, or watch some more videos. I always refer you guys to Heavy Duty Country's channel. But here's the thing, like, he's right about it sounding like a living room conversation, a living room couch conversation, unfortunately. And he's not the first person. I said it on a live stream before that there are a lot of people who have voted for Trump and they're starting to feel this way. Like maybe his outlook is a little bit selfish. Now it's just kind of like Trump, 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 and it's not America. So even people on the side that voted for him are starting to actually feel this way. This is a real feeling, and that's why every single time where Heavy Duty's like, I'm starting to get pissed, it's actually like a real reaction that he's having. So it doesn't bother me that he feels this way. If I'm honest, I kind of agree with him and on a lot of different aspects of this. I mean, President Trump wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things he's doing currently for Israel if it wasn't for the fact that he was the president. Now, he has money, he has reach, so he can do things. But a lot of the things he's doing right now, it is because of, you know, his status and the position that he's in. So when Netanyahu just keeps referring to Trump, 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 and he's not bringing anybody else up, Heavy Duty, he doesn't respect that, you know, as many other Americans, you know, they're like, okay, so now you're just only going to bring Trump up and you're not going to mention like America at all. So like nobody else played a part in this. Yeah, I can see why it's frustrating for a lot of people. All right, so next clip of the live stream, we're going to go over to Myron Gaines. Shout out to Myron Gaines. Now, I tell you guys all the time, sometimes Myron drives me crazy. But nonetheless, I'm going to give him his flowers when he deserves them. And he made a couple of takes on Kai Cenat and Gigi's breakup and why it was so detrimental for Kai Cenat specifically. Him being such a young man and being so rich so fast. If you guys know who Kai is, huge YouTube live streamer, probably one of the biggest. Broke the Twitch record first, right? Especially him being an African American. He did it before anybody. Kai has made a lot of... He's made a lot of noise, you know. He's made a lot of accomplishments. He's very successful for the age that he is. I think Kai's like 24. So he made a video not too long after the Stream Awards about dealing with mental health issues. And Myron Gaines kind of connects some dots for us and tells us that, you know, now we know that his break from streaming really was because he was having some problems with his girl. And then, you know, Myron just kind of goes on this tangent about how Gigi kind of just really like karate chopped him and used him and then just left. And Kai Cenat is unable to see that that's what happened. So he's calling it mental health and depression. Also, how the internet makes millionaires a lot faster than what they need to be, right? There's no prerequisites. There's no work, right? There's no work up, right? There's no networking, no important relationships, right? Not even much education is needed. Just because of the wave of the internet, it's made a lot of people rich and it's made a lot of stupid people rich. And they don't know how to handle it. So shout out to Myron Gaines. We're going to give him his flowers in this video. Let's go to the clip.
Women are black belts and dudes are white belts most of the time. So she comes in, Uno reverses, judo this, doing that, throwing this around. You don't even know what's happening. He's on a mat dizzy like, oh, she's going like this walking out the dojo. Go on to the next one. You don't even know what happened. Thinks this is mental health is why he said. No, it's a came in and used you and you don't even know it. Kai Cenat's ex-girlfriend, Gigi, says she broke up with Kai and accuses him of painting a false narrative and shutting down rumors that she cheated on him with NBA YoungBoy. I left, quote, I left. Now you want to get on the internet and rush to paint a false narrative about off a fake Twitter post is insane. I've never cheated on you, and you know that. I have never dealt with that man. Play that sympathetic role somewhere else, please. Right? Let's see what else here. Always listen to Duke Dennis. I don't know about that one. She left because Kai didn't buy her car. Yeah, I did see a clip where she said that she wanted a G-Wagon or some shit like that. What does this say?
Bitch, I figured it out. Nigga probably just mad about his bitch.
Go through that phone on stream, let's react. The gym's near Kai Cenat's crib. All right, so, and this is Neon saying something.
I saw Kai's tweet. I just want to say, bro, hey, man, just focus on yourself, King. Focus on yourself, King. All right, man, I'm going to just leave it at that, bro, you know? Hey, I just want to say, King, you go, King. All right, you're the prize. Understand that, bro, man.
Yo, oh, God, man. Fucking having to say this shit is crazy.
He's so cringy saying this, telling Kai he's the prize. But, you know, I remember something when Myron played that clip. I remember when Lil TJ went on live stream and he was telling Kai Cenat to go through his girlfriend's phone, that they should go through each other's phone like on live stream and they should react to it, but mainly that Kai should go through Gigi's phone. And the fact that Lil TJ was like so adamant about it, I remember thinking that was weird, but just not having enough information to really like muse on it, and just now looking back and connecting the dots, because vision is always 20/20 in hindsight. I'm just like, oh man, that's horrible.
Crazy.
Thank you. Come again. These girls ain't shit, all right? I just want to let you know that. But
I know you ain't talking. I told you 2 years ago about Sam. You ain't listen, bro. Cause I'll never be in another relationship again. Here, let's find Kai on Twitter on here. Bro, I hate being right all the time, bro. I hate being right all the time. So here's his profile, right? And he made this comment on mental health, right? This was like a week ago or so, talking about mental health.
Only on my laptop right now. And, I appreciate everybody who's been sending me birthday wishes, as today is my birthday. Felt like it was a day to be transparent and honest with you guys. A few days ago, I spread awareness on mental health and how important it is to take care of yourself. And honestly, for the past few months, I've been struggling mental health out of self-doubt and fright, pursuing goals that I really want to achieve. And the reason I've really been in my head is because I just wanted to do more. I've gained to realize that I'm a true creator and I'm very passionate about creating. And I have other goals and things that I just want to achieve and do more of. And I would love to show you guys what I've been working on for the past few months through my more personal page, which is KC3 Hidden. I am going to go private soon on that page, so whoever gets in, but I just want to let you guys know that sometimes it is important to take care of your mental health. And honestly, it's been getting better. It has. But out of frustration and fear, I just been in my head for some reason. I never had this feeling before, but I want it to be known that I truly want to create. And I don't know if I'm getting mature or I'm just looking at things at a broad point of view, but I am so passionate about creating in general. And I'm excited to show you guys. Thank you.
All right. So a lot to unpack here. So a week ago, right, I went super viral because I responded to that mental health thing. And I'll show you guys this so you guys got the full context, because now everything is starting to make sense to me. Now that we have more pieces of the pie. Boom. Becoming Rich. And this got 4 million views, by the way. This probably went one of the most viral of all the responses to his. This took a lot for me to do. Thank you, right? So I go, becoming rich in your 20s as a man is a curse. Being sad or depressed as a multimillionaire in America is some bitch-ass nigga activity. I don't care what anyone says. There's children that are getting blown up in Gaza, starving in Sudan and Yemen, and would kill for an opportunity to switch lives. And we got some soft-ass men in America talking about mental health. Depression isn't real. Stop being a pussy and create real impact.
Now, this thing Myron's reading, it's actually his personal post. You heard him say it went super viral, right? So here's where we got a couple different angles to look at this, right? Because you got one hand, Myron's writing this under Kai Cenat's video, and you have the angle where people say men never talk about mental health. They dismiss it. They make fun of it. They say it's not a real thing, you know, and that's the reason why men barely go see therapists, right? And I would say that we see that at play here with some of the things that Myron's saying. Myron's definitely going straight to the side of like, hey, this isn't real, you know, stop complaining about it, you know, stop being a little girl about it. You know, you're a rich guy, you're young, you got a lot going for you, nobody's trying to hear this from you, right? And then you're going to have the other angle where you're going to have men come and they're going to say, and I have seen this already, Kai, thank you so much for being open and honest about your mental health. Thank you so much for saying, you know, what's going on with you. Thanks so much for letting us in, right? So this is where I think like it could get really toxic here with like men and like mental health, because I'm not saying that Myron is totally wrong here. He makes a lot of great points here. That's why I chose to react to it. Myron does get to a point here about men working hard, about what it used to take to become a millionaire versus what the internet does now. So let's keep listening.
And he won't feel like a useless fuck. So here's the thing, bro, right? But everything is making sense. He stops streaming, takes a break, right? Now we know that he was having problems with this chick, right? He made this video, oh, I'm coming over mental health, whatever. But we know now, more than likely, a component of this mental health instability was probably from his relationship with this chick, right? And when I made this video, when I made that response, it got 4 million views. I get Kai's message, right message, wrong messenger. And the reason why is, bro, if you're a young man and you're a multimillionaire, nobody's trying to hear none of that bullshit from you, bro. Let's just keep it all the way 1,000. Nobody's trying to hear any of that. No one's trying to hear about your mental health, none of that shit. You are blessed beyond belief, especially when we see all the other stuff going on in the world. For you to be an extremely wealthy multimillionaire in your 20s, nobody's trying to hear that. And I truly believe, too, that if you're a young man and you're wealthy and you're successful, it's one of the worst things that can happen to you. And the reason why I say this is because, okay, it used to be, as a man, for you to become a multimillionaire, you had to have certain things in place, okay? You had to be able to have charisma, charm, work hard, be a people person to a degree, be able to network, be able...
This is a true point he's making. Now, some people might hear Myron say this and say, did he just say being a young man and becoming a millionaire is one of the worst things that can happen to you? He did say that. And that first one I heard him, I'm like, where's he going to go with this? But this is why I decided to give him his flowers in this video, because he really does make a really good point about why it's the worst thing that it can happen to you. Not that it's not, not that it doesn't benefit your life or it doesn't make things easier, but he explains why in today's day and age, it's the worst thing that can happen to a young man.
I made that response and it got 4 million views. I get Kai's message, right message, wrong messenger. And the reason why is, bro, if you're a young man and you're a multimillionaire, nobody's trying to hear none of that bullshit from you, bro. Let's just keep it all the way 1,000. Nobody's trying to hear any of that. No one's trying to hear about your mental health, none of that shit. You are blessed beyond belief, especially when we see all the other stuff going on in the world. For you to be an extremely wealthy multimillionaire in your 20s, nobody's trying to hear that. And I truly believe, too, that if you're a young man and you're wealthy and you're successful, it's one of the worst things that can happen to you. And the reason why I say this is because, okay, it used to be, as a man, for you to become a multimillionaire, you had to have certain things in place, okay? You had to be able to have charisma, charm, work hard, be a people person to a degree, be able to network, be able to maneuver yourself in different environments so you can get in touch with certain people. You had to have a good network of friends or people that you associate with, right? Like, all these things came into play for you to be a millionaire. But with the age of the internet, right, even though the internet is a fantastic invention, let's be honest here. The internet has made a lot of really stupid people rich. God. Okay? We got dumb thoughts like Camilla, whatever the fuck her name is, skillless, talentless, multimillionaire, made $20 million of...
Yeah, that sound effect is crazy.
5 years, because she was able to utilize OnlyFans as a virtual stripping pole to make a bunch of money, right? So, though the internet is great, it's created a lot of opportunities, it's also created a lot of... It is what it is. So it used to be you had to have certain things in place to become a multimillionaire or to be a millionaire in general, right? With the internet, the gatekeeping and the barrier to entry is way lower. So people that otherwise would have never been rich, right, or wealthy or financially secure, had it not been for the internet and streaming or whatever, are now rich, okay? And that prerequisite skill set or mindset or experience is no longer needed to make that kind of money. And the thing is that for you to be able to have that prerequisite skill set, it makes you strong, chat. That's the key. You had to endure a lot and go through a lot to get to that money and that success. So it made you stronger in the process, okay?
Now, some of you who are probably, if you're younger than me watching, you might listen to Myron right now and you're like, what is this guy talking about? Like, why would me going through hard times that make me want to jump over a bridge make me stronger, right? But he's talking about it from a different, like, generational aspect, like him being, like, a millennial, right? Just like if someone from Gen X were talking, just like, for sure, someone that would, what word do I want to use here? Someone that would confirm what Myron is saying would be someone like a baby boomer, right? I remember reading his comments, and someone in the chat said, tough times make tough men, you know, and that's just something that I said, I bet you this person that made this comment, they're easily a Gen X or a baby boomer, because they would say something like that, right? The younger generation now, I wouldn't say so much with millennials, because I feel like we kind of understand this being raised by baby boomers, but maybe some younger millennials struggle with this, and definitely Gen Zers, maybe some alphas will too. Just that working hard is a bad thing, and I'm not sure where that came from. I know it's a weird thing. It's a weird switch that I've seen in culture over the years with men, and I know it's a hyper feminism movement. That's one thing some people will say, but it's just been made out to be like working hard is like a bad thing. Like if you actually have an honest job or a 9 to 5 or whatever have you as a man, it's a bad thing. And it's not, you know. So this is why Myron's talking in the way that he's talking with the millionaires that become fast millionaires. They have no prerequisite skills. There was no build up. They didn't have to work hard. They didn't go to school. They didn't really have to network. Just because of this fantastic invention called the internet, they were able to become rich. And he makes a great point here. You know, this is the reason why a lot of younger men are coming out with this whole mental health, you know, thing happening within, I would say it's heavy and definitely young Gen Z men. And it's because just a lot of the things that they're dealing with, right? Either things being way too expensive, or they having so much access to excess, or they become financially wealthy really fast and don't have the financial literacy, or they don't have the networking circle, and it all just kind of comes crashing down on them. So I thought he made a really good point when he was pointing this stuff out about Kai.
Give you guys an example. You go to the gym, you train, okay? You go super hard, you go consistently. What's one of the first things that's gonna happen to you? Your hands are gonna start to get calloused, right? However, as you go to the gym consistently and your hands get calloused, they're gonna get rougher, they're gonna adapt, they're gonna acclimate to the way you lift weights, you're gonna start getting ridges, etc. So after a month, your hands might hurt. After a year, it hurts less. After 2 years, the calluses are built in, you're good to go, right? That's precisely what becoming wealthy used to be. You built up certain calluses so that you wouldn't feel pain when you lift a certain weight, because you kind of built your way up there incrementally. What the internet has effectively done is it got you lifting 315 on the fucking bar, but you never got the calluses. Does that make sense? On your hands. So it's really painful to fucking hold the bar in place sometimes. And this analogy that I'm trying to describe to you guys is to let you guys know that when you remove the barrier to entry, what you also do is remove certain experiences and certain mindsets that need to be adapted to earn that kind of money, which is critical for you to maintain that money long term. Does that make sense? Okay? That's why a lot of these rich, young, famous people have mental issue problems. Okay? They're depressed. They're sad. Despite the fact that they make $10, $20 million a year. Because they never had to grind, right? From a young age and understand what being down really is. Being down is not feeling sad while being a multimillionaire. Being down is trying to figure out how you're going to make money. Being down is looking at your fucking brothers and sisters and be like, damn, they're hungry. We need to get some food. Being down is...
See, so Myron's coming from the perspective of someone that's actually been through some hard times, right? Like he's coming from the vantage point of someone that's like, man, you're talking about you're being sad because you were too dumb to realize that a girl came in and used you. He's like, man, that's not depression. Depression is like when you want to eat food and you can't eat food because you realize that there's roaches in it, right? And he's going to go into that analogy. But I was like, man, like Myron's really taking it to the point where he's taking it to the point where it's like, yo, you haven't had problems. Like, I get that you're depressed. Like, I get you're saying that you're going through these things, but like, you haven't had real problems. No, he hasn't. He probably hasn't dealt with some of the stuff that Myron's dealt with, right? Or even some of the stuff that I've dealt with. So we can look at Kai and we could be like, Kai, come on, man. Tighten up. Like, you're going to be okay. But to him, this is like a really big deal. To his generation, this is a really big deal.
Having real poverty where you open up your fucking, cereal box and you see roaches in it. I vividly remember as a child living in New York City, like 8, 7, 9 years old. I used to eat this cereal. It was called Kix, right? Orange box. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't even know if they sell that shit anymore, right? I vividly remember that I would fucking open that cereal box or Captain Crunch and I would see roaches in the fucking bag. And if I saw a roach in there or a dead roach in there, I would be like, damn, I can't eat the cereal no more, right? I remember that. Stuff like that sticks with you. But guess what? It makes it now where I'm not complaining about fucking, anything. Because I'll tell y'all this right now. Waking up in the morning and be like, damn, let me go ahead and, have some cereal. You pull out that fucking cereal thinking, oh yeah, it's about to be lit. You pull out the, you pull out the bag real quick, make sure there's no roaches there. You see a fucking 3 of them niggas in there.
Boom,
Day ruined. Now you gotta watch fucking cartoons with no fucking cereal. I remember that. I remember back in 2005, I went to Egypt with my parents. They just wanted to teach me a lesson because my grades weren't so good my sophomore year of high school. Sent my ass to Egypt. I was there. Poor as fucking Cairo. Power cutting off and shit like that. Dusty roads everywhere. I remember that shit. Sucked. Absolutely sucked. I remember going to Sudan as a kid in 1995 when Omar Bashir was still fucking running the country. I saw what real poverty is. I'll never forget. When I went to Egypt in 2005 and came back, I kissed the fucking floor at JFK. That changed me forever, okay? That changed me forever. In my 20s, I was a Division I athlete. While everyone was partying, I was fucking training, delayed gratification, had to wake up every morning at 5, train. I was still doing bodybuilding on the side. I was working for ICE as an intern. Hell, I even had a little part-time job at Abercrombie & Fitch, right? And I remember what it's like to be broke. Have like a couple $100s in your account and be like, damn, I can't spend this. If I do, I'm cooked, right? And then you're on your last like 50, 20 bucks. I remember that shit. Now, why is this all important? This is all extremely important because now I'm in a position to appreciate what the fuck I got. I've experienced the downs, right? So now I'm able to appreciate the up. And the other beauty here is that since I've experienced the down and I could talk about it openly with a lot of you guys, I'm trying to keep you guys from experiencing the same downs I did. What did Jay-Z famously say back in the day? Hope went through that so you don't have to go through that. You guys remember that shit? Hope went through that so you don't have to go through that. That's precisely why I do the show the way that I do. And I give you guys a lot of my experiences that I had when I was in my younger years. So you guys don't make some of the same mistakes that I had. Or let's say you are making some of those mistakes. You can relate to me because I can explain to you, I've been there, I know how to, how we can overcome this. But the problem is that these young niggas have never dealt with a lot of this shit. It was all highs, all money, all rich. Well, if you never experienced the down, you're not going to appreciate the highs. So that's why when I was saying Kai Cenat is really in no position to talk about mental health or any of this shit, the reason why I say that is because I don't want to hear nothing from a multimillionaire in their 20s, bro. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. No one's trying to hear that, dude. Because no matter what you do or what you say is going to come off as you're entitled and you're being a bitch and you're soft. That's the truth. And that's why he's getting criticized so much. But now we got the full story. Now we know that a large component of him probably being depressed was his dumbass. A lot of these young guys are bitches. Dudes are making tens of thousands of dollars a month, $100,000 a month plus. A lot of these influencers in their 20s. And these niggas are talking about, I gotta focus on my mental health, whatever. What? You niggas talk shit to you on the internet and that makes you sad? Get the fuck out of here. Bro, those niggas your age storming the beaches of Normandy. Oh, bro, it's all side of my chat. They're talking shit to me. Oh, my God. Oh, nigga, try storming a beach with a bunch of Germans shooting at you. Fuck you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Dudes your age used to be in war.
See what I'm saying? Like, Myron's bringing up, like, real life problems. Like, he's talking about, you got people being, he's like, man, in other parts of the world, people your age are getting blown up. People your age are being sent to war. People your age are being killed. You telling me that because people are talking bad about you on the internet and your girlfriend just played you and you're too weak to see that's why you're depressed? But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's two different generations. And, I've really had to realize that being at work. Like, my mentors got on me at work about that because maybe I'll be working maybe I'll be working close by with a Gen Zer and they'll like do something or say something and I'll be like, oh my God, and he'll just be like, he'll just kind of give me that look like, take it easy on them type of thing. So it's like, yeah, like because they'll be stressing about things that I'll be like, bro, you gotta be kidding me right now. This is stressing you out. Like if this is stressing you out, what are you gonna do when a real problem comes? But, to them it is a real problem.
Trench warfare. Now these motherfuckers are crying about fucking chat warfare. Get the fuck out of here, man. Like, motherfuckers don't got no perspective at all. Now that we've described how, a lot of these streamers are just pussies that are in their 20s talking about mental health or whatever, let's talk about this bitch, right? Let me find this girl real quick. Because I told y'all niggas about this bitch, what, a year ago plus? If I'm not mistaken? Wasn't I the first one to call it out that this chick was going to be on some bullshit? So this girl, because I remember we looked at her socials before. If somebody could pull up the clip for me, that'd be fucking awesome. Let me look at, because this girl's a fucking no-name, bro. Nobody knew who this bitch was before this shit. Hold on. Twitch streamer Kai Cenat announced Friday single and vows to never date again, posting a nostalgic photos from a Dallas Maverick game with his ex-TikTok star Gabriel Gigi Alaya. Right, bro? Nobody knew who this fucking bitch was, bro. Let's see if we can find her YouTube channel. Because I remember calling this shit out before with this chick. Did she even post anything? People on YouTubers be trash, bro. Yeah, she posts like maybe once or twice a week. Okay. Typical long shit. Okay. So rumors were that Gigi cheated with rapper NBA amplified by DJ Academics, but she's fired back on Instagram stories denying it all, saying she ended things Lil TJ's earlier stream warning about checking her phone reservice, splitting opinions online as no solid proof backs the claims. Okay, look, whether she cheated or not isn't really relevant to the story. I'm not even gonna go down that road with whether her cheating or whatever. I'm gonna go down the road of this is why you don't fuck with girls that are influencers. Okay, you can't deal with women that are in show business. Okay, and let me explain this. So I've told you guys before that some of the worst women to get with are women in the entertainment industry, right? And the reason for that is because women that are into social media, TikTok, YouTube, any of this other shit, right? They have to constantly be on the net, right? And they have to like network and meet people and make shit happen, collaborations, whatever. The problem with this is that the nature of her work is gonna put her in positions that are not advantageous to the success of your relationship. All right, I'm gonna say that again. Because some of you guys might be watching right now and you guys are like, oh, well, Myron, that doesn't affect me. No, it might affect you more than you think. When young people were polled, the number one job that young people wanted, which is way different than my generation, is a lot of you young guys and young girls want to be influencers. So some of you guys watching right now, 21, 22, etc., your girl might have a TikTok, she might have an Instagram, she might have one of these accounts or whatever. She might want to become an influencer or is trying to become one, maybe whether it's unbeknownst to you or whatever. So this is very important that you guys understand this because a lot of young women want to become influencers. A lot of them, okay? Sometimes for the wrong reasons. Well, mostly for the wrong reasons. And see all these chicks making money on OnlyFans, whatever. Like, oh, I can do that too. I'm cure the fucking Sophie Ray. She's stupid. I can do it too. Right? Next thing you know, they're selling her for fucking $2.99, bro. You know? Apple Pay type shit. But anyway, for women to really make it in show business, whether it's social media, music, any other shit, they're gonna have to put themselves in rooms with certain individuals, okay? And a lot of the times, these individuals are men that see an opportunity with a girl that's trying to make it. Now, does this mean that they're gonna, every single dude that is in the industry or whatever is gonna try to hit on a girl? No. But there's other niggas that are gonna be around that might try, okay? So, in order for a woman to grow her social media career, she's gonna have to network and be around individuals a lot of the times that are not going to benefit your relationship. It's only going to hurt it. There's no good that can come from it, right? And the other thing you need to know is if you're a famous dude, right, you bring in a girl like this that's relatively obscure that no one fucking knows, what's going to happen is she's going to become famous. And she's going to get really famous. What's happening is she's down here, you're up here, you're bringing her almost up to your level. So now she has access to people she would have otherwise never had access to because of you, right? And again, this can create a lot of problems. Now here's the other issue. This dude Kai's in his 20s, right? What do I tell you all the time? Hey, don't get married, really start taking women seriously.
And like now, this next thing Myron's going to talk about, I don't agree with, but this last thing right here, that's true with Gigi having certain access. Now, with Kai Cenat's ex-girlfriend having this access, she got it because of him. Because Myron makes a good point. He's like, now let's talk about her. He says that before Kai, no one really knew who she was, and I would say that I agree to that. I'm not saying she didn't have any following, but whatever it was relatively small. Because I can remember when Kai started first bringing her on the stream, and it's not like I recognized her like the way I would recognize, you know, like if, you know, a famous celebrity was walking down the street, let's put it like that, or even a more famous female YouTuber. I didn't recognize who she was. I just know that Kai was introducing her as his girlfriend. So now when Myron says like now she's has access to all these people and all these things, and she has that now because of Kai, you know, it's true. You know, there's even been people on YouTube talking about her in their YouTube videos, people who have a substantially bigger following than her simply because she's tied to or connected to Kai Cenat. So yeah, I agree with Myron on that point.
You're in your 30s at least. You gotta have a strong leg count, you gotta have some money put away, you gotta have some experience. The reason why I tell you all this is because modern women in their 20s have a lot of game nowadays. Why? Well, the reason why they have so much game, and I talk about this in my book, Why Women Deserve Less over here, is by the time a woman is in her early 20s, guys, she's been hit on thousands of times. If you add in the internet, right, and social media, Instagram, TikTok, etc., we're talking about tens of thousands of times. And what happens when people hit on you that much or try to talk to you that often, guess what happens? You become really good at identifying losers versus winners, deflecting and judoing motherfuckers. You basically become a black belt in keeping losers away, right? And then some women get so good at this where not only are they able to learn how to repel certain men and keep them away, they figure out how to use those men in a way that's advantageous to them only, but not the man. This, my friends, is what I call the fucking friend zone. Women Women get hit on so much that they develop a skill set to get some motherfuckers to give them value while they don't give any value back. In other words, this nigga's gonna be my Uber guy. This guy's gonna be my food guy. This guy's gonna be my friend that I can tell my problems to, and he's gonna be the emotional tampon. And these idiots will gladly do it. Why? Because men don't get the same level of attention from the opposite gender as women do. You can take a 21-year-old woman, you take a 21-year-old man, right? That 21-year-old woman is gonna have tens of thousands of interactions with men between real life and the internet. That 21-year-old guy might have two, okay? That nigga might have two. Now let me ask you guys a simple question. Who's gonna be a better boxer? The boxer that spars every single day and fights southpaws, orthodox, etc.? Or the boxer who's only had 2 spars in his life? I think we know the answer to that. The boxer that spars every day, aka the woman, is gonna be far more effective and skilled than the individual that doesn't spar. This is where men have the disadvantage. Since women get far more experience with the opposite gender, they become a lot better at identifying higher status individuals from opposite gender or lower status individuals. Men don't, okay? This is why she was able to come in, get in a relationship, get what she needed, get the fuck out. Meanwhile, he's sitting there talking about mental health and oh man, this sucks and all this other shit. Because he was able to quickly assess where he stands, get her value, get the fuck out. He wasn't able to keep up. Why? Because men don't have the same level of interaction from the opposite gender. In other words, women are fucking black belts and dudes are white belts most of the time, okay? So she comes in, Uno reverses, judo this, doing that, throwing this nigga around, blah, blah, blah. You don't even know what's happening. He's on a mat dizzy like, oh shit. She's going like this, working out the dojo. Go on, to the next one. You don't even know what happened. Nigga thinks this is mental health, is why he's sad. No, so bitch came in and used you and you didn't even know it. She already out the dojo to the next one. And this is why it's so fucking important. This is why I tell you guys, you gotta get out there and deal with women. This is what religion doesn't save you from, okay? There's no more shame in society that shames women for doing shit like this. Being predatory as a female is completely socially acceptable and, most importantly, endorsed. Welcome, punch! Women are taught in 2025 to meet men, extract value, get what you need, and get the fuck up out of there. Women are taught the Sheryl Sandberg effect, which is date the bad boys, have fun in your 20s, and then right before you're gonna hit your 30s, find a nice guy, settle down with him, have kids with him, and then go ahead and have a family. Literally, translation: be a whore in your peak years, have your fun, then go find a guy down the road that's gonna save you. That's what it comes down to.
I mean, he's just trying to be blunt and straight to the point, but I don't think it means be a whore until you're in your 30s. That's not even the desire that a lot of women have. Like, that's just not something that's innate in women, but that's Myron for you.
Obviously, she's doing this at a higher level because she's dealing with celebrities and shit like that. But the reason why he's sad with mental health and why she just moved on and it's not a big deal and she's on Instagram defending herself is because women become very good at monkey branching and moving to the next individual and not caring. And a woman that's in show business is going to be even worse about this shit, unfortunately. So this is why I tell you guys that you need to understand women. And here's another thing too I'll let you guys realize so you guys really understand the discrepancy here. How many YouTube channels are out there teaching women about men? Not many. Not many. If anything, it's teaching women maybe how to get married or how to find a rich man. But there's no YouTube channel out there teaching women how to find men. You want to know why? Because it's not necessary. The men come up to them. But there's a bunch of YouTube channels out there teaching men how to get women. Why? Because it's difficult. It's not easy. And then if you do get a girl, the next part is assessing how much she likes you for you, what she's trying to do. You got to identify all the ulterior motives of why she's fucking with you. And the more famous and the more money you have, the more you have to do this vetting process and be more diligent about it. So again, the reason why this is probably affecting him more than her is because he didn't see a lot of this shit coming because he's in his 20s. And for any of my guys out there, right? Whether you're an influencer or not, or you're just a guy that has a regular job, whatever, stay away from women that want to be on social media and they want to be influencers. Stay away from these women. Because in order for them to grow their brand and to grow their business, they're going to have to be in rooms and or in situations that simply are not advantageous to your relationship. It can only hurt it. And the other thing too is that she's going to be exposed to higher status and better men than you in a lot of these situations. And unfortunately, the way that women are wired to get the best deal that they can get. Their entire mating strategy is presupposed upon doubt. What do I mean by this? They are constantly asking themselves, do I have the best guy that I have, that I can get? Do I have the best that I can get? If the answer is no, she's going to be a hoe. I'm going to say that again for you niggas.
I mean, I can't get mad at Myron about this. Like, there is something there to what he's saying, and that only simply because for women, like, stability is like a very big thing. You know what I'm saying? So, and part of that thought process is this the best I can get? If she's comparing that to someone that is having, let's say, a problem providing, then I would say, yeah, you know, there could definitely be some doubt there. You know, maybe if there's not a problem providing, it's that she provides more, like she just has like the bigger income, or like, you know, the bigger purse at the time. And that's not always the case. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that the woman will leave, but Myron's saying that's just not the ideal setup for a man, especially a young man.
Women's mating strategy is based in doubt. What they say is this the best man that I can get? If the answer is no, she's gonna be a hoe. There's one phrase you want to take from this shit, take that one. This is fucking Gillette. Is this the best that a woman can get? No? She's gonna be a hoe. It's your job to make sure every time she asks herself that stupid-ass question, is this the best that I can get? The answer is yes. That's your job. Your job is to make sure every time she asks herself that stupid-ass, redundant question, is this the best that I can get? The answer is a profound fucking yes. That's your job. And you guys want to know how you make it a yes every time? Keep your value up, go to the gym, keep your sexual market value high, make sure other women still want you, keep her in her place. This is a game, chat. This is a game. The game is about maintaining your sexual market value at a certain level where it would be stupid for your woman to go and try to find another guy. And if she does, she's absolutely going to regret it very quickly. Which is fine. We live in a deregulated sexual marketplace. Women are going to be hoes. Let them leave. Who gives a fuck? You need to be in a position where you don't care if she leaves. That is the best place to be. So anyway, look, I feel sorry for Kai, right? Sucks that, you know, he dated this, what I call this opportunistic 304, right? She's just able to get certain accesses and get certain things. She benefited way more from the relationship than he did. That's why he feels like, oh man, I'm never going to be in a relationship again. I'm single. Because she probably added like no fucking value to this nigga, bro. I'll be honest. Most girls are fucking useless. And the reason why is because they've never had to be useful, especially attractive women. That's just how it goes. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. Stay away from girls that are on the internet and want to be influencers, bro. It's a bad look, man. Always gonna put you in a precarious situation. You want a girl that's low key, man.
All right, shout out to Myron Gaines. You guys can watch the rest of those videos. Like, there's a long-standing video of that on his channel, because I believe he did a live stream about it, so you guys can check that out over there. Let's go over the Fox News clips. We got some serious NFL allegations. Stephon Diggs is involved. Let's take a look.
Molly, two New England Patriots players are facing serious allegations, and yet both remain eligible to take the field this weekend. Wide receiver Stephon Diggs is accused of choking and striking a woman earlier this month, and defensive tackle Christian Barmore is now facing allegations of domestic assault tied to an incident over the summer. Both players have denied the allegations against them. In a statement, the NFL says, quote, "There is no change to the status of Diggs or Barmore. Both are eligible to play at this time." Here's Patriots coach Mike Vrabel.
How disappointing is it to have to deal with this type of distraction involving two players with alleged cases against them, right now?
Sure. Well, I would say not disappointing at all. I think that, these are allegations, like you mentioned in your question. It's things that we have to handle, and every day that there's distractions. Some are smaller than others.
Trial attorney and former felony prosecutor Andrea Lewis joins me now. Andrea, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
These are allegations. They have not been convicted, but what is your analysis of these cases?
Mike, these are very serious allegations in what we just heard here. I mean, these players are accused of pretty heinous crimes, both against women. Now, as you noted, they are only allegations here. But what the elephant in the room is that both of these men
and former felony.
We have to handle that.
How disappointing is it?
And defensive tackle. And the NFL says, quote, "There is no change to the status of Diggs or Barmore. Both are eligible to play at this time." Here's Patriots coach Mike Vrabel.
How disappointing is it to have to deal with this type of distraction involving two players with alleged cases against them, right now?
Sure. Well, I would say not disappointing at all. I think that...
I mean, I'm going to have to actually say L coach here. I think he fumbled the bag here. He fumbled the ball really bad because he's saying there's no disappointment. The reporter asked, how disappointing is it to deal with this alleged distraction, this case as a distraction? And he says there's no disappointment here because there are allegations. And I'm like, bro, are you kidding me right now? Like, you just said that on live TV. There's no disappointment. It does, even if they are allegations and this is allegedly, it should be disappointing just that 2 women got hurt. It should be disappointing that there's a possibility that your players might be involved. I was like, somebody needs to give this guy like a press conference, coach.
These are allegations, like you mentioned in your question. It's things that we have to handle, and every day that there's distractions. Some are smaller than others.
Trial attorney and former felony prosecutor Andrea Lewis joins me now. Andrea, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
These are allegations. They have not been convicted, but what is your analysis of these cases?
Mike, these are very serious allegations and what we just heard here. I mean, these players are accused of pretty heinous crimes, both against women. Now, as you noted, they are only allegations here, but what the elephant in the room is that both of these men are star players on the Patriots, and that their eligibility to play in the upcoming playoffs and Super Bowl is in jeopardy right now. And so the outcome of this investigation is going to have a significant impact on the Patriots' potential success here moving forward.
Patriots are having a great year. You heard Coach Vrabel say he's concerned about distractions and he's disappointed. Do you question the timing of these allegations coming to light?
Well, there is really nothing that is unusual about the timing here. I mean, I think that there's a lot of people, a lot of maybe Patriots fans who may call that into question, but certainly from a criminal perspective and how these things move through the legal system, this is pretty common the way this has worked out. The interesting thing, though, is that some of these allegations are fairly recent, and we have the arraignment on both of these cases coming up, one in late January and one just days before the Super Bowl on February 3rd. And so the NFL's own personal conduct policy allows the commissioner to put either one of these players on the exempt list and essentially discipline them without any type of criminal conviction while a case is still being investigated. And if that were to happen, it would happen immediately before the Super Bowl. As I mentioned, this is just the significance of this cannot be understated.
All right, well, we will follow that. Then there's the Charlie Kirk assassination trial, a judge ruling that a redacted transcript and an audio recording can be released. Is there a legal argument to be made that the public has a right to know, considering it's such a high-profile case? Audio recording, follow that. Then there's the Charlie Kirk assassination trial, a judge ruling that a redacted transcript and an audio recording can be released. Is there a legal argument to be made that the public has a right to know, considering it's such a high-profile case?
Without any type of criminal conviction while a case is still being investigated. And if that were to happen, it would happen immediately before the Super Bowl. As I mentioned, this is just the significance of this cannot be understated. To happen, either one of these players on the exempt list and essentially discipline them without any type of criminal conviction while a case is still being investigated. And if that were to happen, it would happen immediately before the Super Bowl. As I mentioned, this is just the significance of this cannot be understated.
So then, yeah, it would affect their eligibility in that case. That's why people downplaying it. She's saying that it's not something that should be downplayed because it's something that can turn serious very quick, and they'll make sure it happens right before the Super Bowl. So, yeah, we'll continue to follow that to see what happens next. Like, right now, they're just allegations. So we don't know them to be true. I'm not sure about the 2 women that are involved. If you guys know who they are, you could drop their names in the chat. But we're going to move to the next clip of the live stream. New York City Mayor's office covered. Zohran Mamdani is sworn in as mayor of the city. This was shortly after the ball dropped. I think Letitia James was the person that swore him in here. And then earlier today, I saw Bernie Sanders swearing him in as well. So I was a little confused about that, but I think Bernie's part of it was the inauguration. So let's take a look.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to all of you. And I can't think of a better way to usher in 2026 than to be amongst family and friends and to inaugurate the man who will bring about a new era of progress, promise, and prosperity for New York City. Zohran, I am so proud of what you have accomplished, and I'm filled with joy about what we will accomplish for our beloved city over the coming years. And so with that, let us begin. Please repeat after me. Raise your right hand. I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and the Charter of the City of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
the
duties of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York, according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, congratulations. Thank you very much. Very happy to be here. Okay, it's such a pleasure to have you. Please. Yes.
Thank you, sir. And may I now ask for your $9 fine?
You may ask for my $9. There we go.
Okay, you know what? Like, New York needs help. How is the $9 fee not waived? Whatever, I don't care. This is just crazy.
Should be exact change.
Excellent, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. And the last thing, would you please sign the book?
Absolutely.
Wally?
Thank you, Mr. Najmi.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so you're going to sign the first line here. You're going to put today's date, your signature.
Print or sign right now?
Oh, could you do both?
Okay.
Thank you.
City Hall?
Okay.
Do I leave that for you?
You leave that for me. Okay, it is now official.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's the honor of a lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for everyone for being here. Happy New Year to New Yorkers, both inside this tunnel and above. And I cannot wait to see everyone tomorrow as we begin our term. This is truly the honor and the privilege of a lifetime. And after just having taken my oath to become the mayor of the city of New York, I do so also here in the old City Hall subway station, a testament to the importance of public transit, to the vitality, the health, and the legacy of our city. And I can think of no better moment to announce our new Department of Transportation Commissioner than this. So I would ask Mike Flynn if you would please join me. It is an honor to have Mike here alongside me as we embark on an administration that will take seriously the responsibility and the opportunity we have to make this streetscape and the public transit of the city we call home the envy of the world. And it will require someone who's experienced, who is fluent in the landscape as it is, and who is ambitious and imaginative towards the landscape as it could be. And I can think of no better person than the man alongside me. And I'm so proud to have him joining our administration as the next head of our DOT. Please.
So that's who he picks as the head of the Department of Transportation. So shout out to Chloe in the chat. Chloe said, this just makes me so sad for New York. Be careful what you ask for. You might get it. He has not a clue. A lot of people feel that way. The only reason why I worry about New York is I've even told my wife this, like, as far as my fears go. I'm like, they're fears, but they could turn into a blessing. Well, if he drives the city into the ground enough, I might actually be able to afford some property out there, depending on where it's at. I'm like, but that's also a horrible thing. You know, no one will want that to happen. I still have a lot of family in New York, being from the state. And this was not something that I necessarily wanted to see, simply because I didn't think Zoran had enough experience for it. Just in the sense where it's like, no real job. Like, he's only kind of really been an intern. So for me, that was worrisome. If like your real first actual job is like the mayor of a state, I'm like, oh wow, you know, that's interesting. So that my worries lied a lot there. But you know, we just have to see what happens. You know, he's there now, so it is what it is.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations. It's especially meaningful to be here tonight in this incredible station. I can't help but think back to the childhood me who was endlessly fascinated by the city's subways, bridges, tunnels, and other infrastructure. But that's only one of the many reasons that I'm thrilled to be joining Mayor Mamdani and the team, who fundamentally understand the role that transportation plays in the day-to-day lives of New Yorkers. And I know firsthand that New York City DOT has some of the most passionate, talented, and committed public servants in the country, if not the world. And they're ready to think big and deliver big on our ambitious agenda. So I'm grateful, Mr. Mayor, for entrusting me with this critical role, which I consider the job of a lifetime. And I'm ready, I'm excited to hit the ground running and deliver real results for New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you all so much. Now I'll see you later.
That's how he ends it. Thank you all so much, and I will see you later. I'm like, oh boy. That's Zoran. All right, next clip of the live stream, we're going to head over there. So we'll keep track of Zoran as far as the mayor of New York City officially now. So it is what it is. The people got what they wanted. The people got what they voted for. Let's put it like that. At least those who went out and voted. Bill O'Reilly made a great point yesterday. He said that, you know, he named the registered voters in New York City. I believe he said it was 5 million. He said half of them didn't show up. He says, and when half of the voters don't show up, anybody could win at that point. And he's absolutely right. So let's head over to New York City, where I'm from. Shout out to NYC. We got the funeral of a real one. The funeral of a real one. This was this is more meaningful probably to me than you guys, unless you're a New Yorker. But yeah, the funeral of a real one. Shout out to the death of the Metro card. I was like, oh man, I'm super sad about this. But it's just nostalgic. So let's take a listen. And then we also got some updated technology in New York. Now, I was there. I was still living in New York at the time when they made these these plexi doors in place of like turnstiles in the train station. I hated when they came out with them, but I knew that it made sense, just in the sense of, if you guys know New York City Transit and you ever rode the train, when we had just plain old school turnstiles, it was very easy to jump them. It was actually like kind of just a rite of passage in New York. It sounds horrible, but it's true. Like, you just would jump the turnstile. So that's why they started coming out with those plexi little glass like opening and closed doors, so you couldn't do that, and people have been getting hurt by them. You know, I saw this when I was in New York when they first put them in place, but it's gotten worse now, so they're looking at changing to some of the technology. So we'll take a look at the death of the Metro card, and then you know, the replacement of the turnstiles in New York with these plexiglass doors.
I guess a lot different. I started my degree in 1986 and
of years ago. Now this is extinct.
Oh, nostalgia gets us every time. We're surrounded by icons. You got the arch there. Here's the Metro card. Now it will be enshrined in our memories. Maybe you carry it around in your wallet just to have it.
For old time's sake, please swipe again.
Makes you feel like a part of the city a little bit. But that said, I've been using my credit card because it's easier.
It was one of the sounds of the city. New Yorkers know how to make a statement. Some riders organized a ceremony in Washington Square in loving memory of the card that took us so far.
Today, New York City mourns the passing of a true original. Swipe, swipe!
The Metro card has been slowly disappearing this year. Vending machines have been replaced by Omni, which stands for One Metro New York.
Omni's not as pretty as the Metro card.
She said Omni's not as pretty as the Metro card. This is the older lady talking about like her usage of the Metro card throughout the years in New York. So One Metro New York, that's what Omni is. So as someone who grew up in New York City taking public transportation, let me just tell you guys, the death of this Metro card is so sad for me. Like, I already have a Metro card like that. I just keep for nostalgic reasons, but now I'm going to like kind of like stack up on some cool ones. But this is crazy because I can remember getting like the ones where you could just either you load money on it for the amount of rides you want to take. You always got like a transfer, so once you swipe once, you didn't have to like swipe again, in the sense where you would use more money. You would swipe and then you would be able to transfer like to your next train or to your next bus. Man, I remember this stuff like it was yesterday. And it's like you could get like a week Metro card. The $30, the 30-day Metro card was the best one. That was the 30-day unlimited one. And you just like ride around the city, and it's just like, it's whatever. One lady talks about it. It almost feels like it's like a rite of passage to the city. So yeah, I was like, this news will probably be more meaningful to me and any of my subscribers that are like from New York, but I was like, I don't care, I gotta react to it.
It's not as interesting looking, and it's just like, okay, tack. Yeah, whatever.
Ann McDermott is a rider and NYC tour guide. She'll miss the monthly Metro card most of all. 30 days, unlimited rides, a feeling of the city at your feet. The new fare system does not have a monthly option as of now. It does allow for fare capping after the 12th ride. The tap takes more technology than the token.
New Yorkers are all very nostalgic. We love to remember. I mean, I still have a bunch of tokens in my drawer.
Remember when discarded cards used to be everywhere, scattered around the ground? Now they're collector's items. The new exhibit at the New York Transit Museum showcases the cards through the years.
Most New Yorkers have in their wallet, so it's almost like your passport to the city.
Regina Shepard is the acting director at the Transit Museum in downtown Brooklyn. Thousands of different cards have been in circulation since 1994, from commemorative ones to special messages.
It was this new form of payment that wasn't kind of universal. They had to teach people how to swipe and what kind of how fast to swipe and what to do, and so that was a big part of the messaging.
It's trademarked by the MTA. The Metro card will live on in merchandise and memory.
You know, that's the same sound that everybody made when it got bent and it wouldn't work or got demagnetized. So the new cards are available in the vending machines. Also at the customer service centers if you want to try to bring over a balance. MTA says people are using Omni and the phones more than 90% of subway and bus riders, and starting January 4th of 2026, Omni will work, I'm told, on Nice Bus and Westchester County at the B-Line. At Washington Square Park Red Market. Took 11 days.
My humans keep giving me probiotics, but I'm still itchy.
All right, swipe. Shout out to the Metro card. All right, guys, let's move over to the situation with the plexiglass doors and the subways that replaced the old school turnstiles.
Some subway riders say a new gate system designed to reduce fare evasion is causing chaos, confusion, and even raising safety concerns. Adi Guajardo has the story.
A new fare gate at the Broadway and Lafayette subway station now sounds like a fire station, and it's sending New York City riders into a tapping frenzy.
It's pretty chaotic.
At times, leaving riders flushed with fear. Our camera captured a woman with her head pinched between the gates. Less than an hour later, a toddler's head was trapped between the plastic doors, and the father jumped into action.
The mother described the moment as scary.
The child said he was okay.
This isn't the first time this has happened since the modern fare gate pilot program rolled out on December 19th.
That's crazy. Now, if the right child get caught in those gates, New York City's gonna make a huge adjustment because they're gonna get sued. They might be okay with the Spanish lady that don't speak much English, but don't let a Caucasian child or somebody get caught in that. They're gonna be in trouble.
Police say this week 2 other children got stuck at the gate and one was taken to the hospital. We reached out to the MTA for a comment on the child transport to the hospital. They released a statement reading in part, as we evaluate their performance, we're learning more every day about how to design modern, effective fare gates for New York City. This is one of 3 modern gates being tested at several stations to help improve fare compliance, system accessibility, and passenger flow.
If you've ever ridden the New York City subway, you simply tap and go, but then you're saying they have to tap and wait.
I just want to tap and go, but it seems like it's slowing everyone down.
We witnessed several riders skip out on paying in plain sight of MTA employees and police. While some are wary.
See, and that's the thing. Ultimately, this will be easier than the Metro card. The thing about the Metro card is that you had to know how to swipe it. So it's like if you didn't swipe it right, you could swipe the Metro card and try to go through the turnstile and just be like, boom. Like you would just keep hitting the turnstile because there was a way to swipe it. But if you knew how to swipe the Metro card, and most people that used it every day did, people would just be swiping and just going right through the turnstile. Like it'd be like boom, boom, boom. It'd be like real automatic. This thing, because it's more technology based, it's so easy for it to glitch. So it could say you don't have the money when you had the money. It could say that the door's open and the door's closed. It could say that the door should close and it should be open. So they're going to have like a lot of problems with it. And I knew that when I first started seeing them implemented in New York. When I first started seeing these things, I thought that they would be problematic. So this is not shocking to me.
The new system, others are excited for the technology.
Just easy to get through, fast, efficient. It was just very good.
I think it's really cool. I like the use of AI.
We took an informal poll to get a pulse on the new system.
I think a nay.
Nay, no.
What? No! Take this down! Take it all down!
It's a yay.
In Soho, Adi Guajardo, CBS News, New York.
Colors 92 in the holidays.
Yeah, you're gonna have mixed emotions about it. Like, if I'm honest with you, the reason why I think maybe some, because I think it depends on what generation. So Gen Z probably always saw these. I don't know, Gen Z New Yorkers would have to tell me that. I know for sure as millennials, like, we dealt with the turnstile, because I can tell you right now, it's like I jumped turnstiles before. Like, I know what this is. This was just like something that we did in New York. So the turnstile was just it in the train station. But you know, I can see them not liking it. One thing, it's not easy to jump. It's not something you could just get past, right? And that was a problem that New York City was having with the turnstiles. That's why they started putting police officers inside of the train station, and that's where they would be at. They would usually be right outside of the turnstile. So you would get off the train and you would walk a little bit, you would go boom right through the turnstile, and you would either go, you know, down a long hallway or like around the corner or something and up the steps onto the street or to wherever you were going if you were going to your next train. But the police would usually be standing right there, like right after the turnstile. So if you weren't paying attention, like I wasn't one time when I was with my sister, and it's like, yeah, like I didn't jump the turnstile, but this is another thing people used to do. They would go up to the turnstile and they would stand real close to each other. So they would stand like basically like back to front, right? So the first person would be right at the turnstile, and then the person behind them would go like real close to them, and then the last person would like swipe the Metro card, and they would both go through at one time, right? So that was another thing we used to do in the train station in New York City. So it makes sense to me now when I see these doors, because they had such a problem with the turnstiles. I knew they had to get it under control, but I'm like, this AI based stuff, we got to remember, like, it's technology, so you're gonna have problems. Like, getting people's neck and head caught in the doors is crazy work. Like, they really got to work on that, because the right person's gonna sue them. All right, guys, so let's jump into the next clip of the live stream. Where I'm at, we got yeah, the 58-year-old gentleman. Okay, we got a 58-year-old gentleman who is out of his life savings due to a cryptocurrency scandal. So I'm not saying all cryptocurrency is bad. This is just what happened to this gentleman in particular. It did not look like a scam on the surface, and he explains that. So let's take a listen.
Everybody in the world should do this test just once in their life. And it's called a genetic...
People, be careful. Please.
Ricky Smith doesn't want anyone else to go through what he's experiencing.
I'm in a terrible situation now because I have no other assets at this point.
Ricky Smith, a 58-year-old man, says he lost approximately $80,000 of his life savings after becoming involved in what he now believes was a cryptocurrency investment scam. Smith says the situation developed over several months and began with a casual online interaction that did not initially appear suspicious. According to Smith, the incident started in May when he began communicating with someone on Facebook. The interaction appeared routine and did not involve any immediate discussion of money or investments. After some time, the conversation moved from Facebook to WhatsApp. Smith says the shift felt natural and did not raise concerns, as he believed he was continuing a private conversation with someone he had already been speaking to online.
That was life savings.
Once communication moved to WhatsApp, Smith says the woman he was speaking with began discussing cryptocurrency investing. She eventually connected him with what she described as a cryptocurrency investment opportunity. Smith says the investment platform he was shown appeared legitimate. He reports that the website displayed account balances, transaction histories, and apparent gains, all of which contributed to his belief that the investment was real.
So I decided to try, I said, okay, well, I'll just try just to test the water. I'll put, $500 in there first and see what happens, And when I put $500 in there was a gain, and I was able to get it out.
Smith says he initially decided to test the investment with a small amount of money. He deposited $500 to see how the process worked and whether he could access his funds. According to Smith, he was able to withdraw that money successfully. This early withdrawal played a significant role in his decision-making, as it reinforced the impression that the platform was legitimate and functional. After seeing apparent gains and being able to withdraw funds, Smith says he began depositing larger amounts. He states,
see, and it's like, if we just pay attention to how this all started, they set it up in a way where, you know, he was going to fall into the trap, because they made sure that he was able to withdraw the very first time that he saw it make a gain, right? But this was probably a setup all along. In fact, I know it was. Like, there's probably a threshold, right? So it's like, okay, they saw him put in 500. They're like, okay, this 500 might grow to maybe 1,000 max. So if it does, we'll make sure that the max, let's say the max they can take out is 1,300. So it grows, he sees growth. Let's say his 500 turns into 8 or 1,100. Because the max on the back end is 13, he can withdraw the 11, so he feels confident. He's like, all right, bet. Like, I saw some gain and I was able to get my money, so I'm going to go ahead and do this again. And then now the person starts talking to him more about, hey, instead of withdrawing so fast, why don't you leave it in there so you can experience like a larger, you know, growth spurt, instead of just like, you know, just seeing something really fast and taking it right out. Well, because the guy keeps seeing growth and keeps seeing growth on the computer screen, it's making him more and more courageous and making him more and more bold to stick with it. But he doesn't realize what's happening on the back end. So let's keep listening.
It's that the individual he was communicating with encouraged him to allow the account to grow rather than withdrawing profits. Smith says he was told that keeping the money invested would increase his returns over time.
But the more I kept putting in and I was gaining, I didn't really just take it right back out.
At this point, Smith believed he was making reasonable investment decisions based on what he could see within the platform. As Smith continued to add funds, the account balance displayed on the site continued to increase. Smith says this reinforced his confidence and reduced his sense of urgency to withdraw money. He believed the investment was performing well and assumed he would be able to access his funds when needed. He did not believe there was any immediate risk involved. The situation changed when Smith attempted to withdraw a larger amount from the account. At that point, he says he was told that his funds could not be released unless certain conditions were met.
And before you know it, when I tried to take it down, they said, hold up, you have to pay taxes on this money.
Specifically,
and like the vault is free, I gain more value out of the vault than like this freaking 4,800.
Smith says he was informed that he needed to pay taxes on the money.
Now, initially, I can see why him having to pay taxes on the money might have not flagged him right away. Because some of you might be like, oh, well, him paying taxes on that should have been a red flag right away. But if you think about something like, let's say, a 401k, I would say not necessarily, because your brokerage account would require you to pay taxes on, you know, an amount that you're going to take out, right? Here's the thing, though. They don't usually make you pay it up front. And usually, if you do pay it up front, it's something that's automatically taken out. Like the brokerage company is just going to automatically take that away from you. But usually it's just, it's either payments on the back end that are made. And they don't say like, hey, if you don't make this, like, if you don't make this payment up front, you can't have your money. That's not how that works if you're withdrawing from, like, let's say a retirement account. So this already should have been a red flag where they were saying, like, if you don't make this payment, you can't get the money. If you go to take money out of your retirement account, you could get the money regardless. They just warn you that there's going to be fees and things attached to that.
Before a withdrawal could be processed, he reports that this requirement was presented as standard procedure. Smith says he paid tens of thousands of dollars in additional payments that he believed were required taxes or fees. Each time he made a payment, he expected that the withdrawal would be approved. Instead, he says he was told that further payments were necessary. These requests continued, even after he had already paid significant amounts beyond his original investment. Eventually, Smith says he was told that he would need to pay an additional $48,000 to become a VIP member in order to access his funds. At that point, Smith says he realized something was wrong. He states that the repeated demands for money, combined with the inability to withdraw any funds, made it clear that he was no longer dealing with a legitimate investment platform.
I knew I was that at that point.
By the time Smith recognized the situation as a scam, he says he no longer had access to his funds. He reports that the money he invested, which he describes as his life savings, was gone. Smith says the loss has had a serious financial impact on his life and has left him in a difficult situation. Smith has since filed a police report and contacted federal agencies in an effort to recover his money or prevent similar incidents from happening to others. He says he decided to share his experience publicly to warn others about the risks associated with online cryptocurrency investments.
Crypto scams are, quickly becoming one of the biggest scams we see. There's nothing low risk about investments in general, especially cryptocurrency investments.
Particularly those that originate through social media or private messaging platforms. Consumer protection experts say cases like Smith's are becoming increasingly common. According to the Better Business Bureau, cryptocurrency-related scams are one of the fastest-growing categories of fraud. These scams often involve fake investment platforms that are designed to appear legitimate and allow victims to see fabricated gains while preventing actual withdrawals. Daniel Irwin of the Better Business Bureau in the Mid-South region says investment scams involving cryptocurrency frequently promise high returns with minimal risk. He says this combination should always be treated as a warning sign. Irwin emphasizes that there is no such thing as a low-risk investment, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency, which is inherently volatile. Experts note that scammers often rely on gradual trust building rather than immediate pressure, by allowing fabricated gains while preventing actual withdrawals. Daniel Irwin of the Better Business Bureau in the Mid-South region says investment scams involving cryptocurrency frequently promise high returns with minimal risk. He says this combination should always be treated as a warning sign. Irwin emphasizes that
See, most people would think, well, high returns and minimal risk, wouldn't we want that, right? But it's like he's saying that it's not a bad thing that you see that combination, but treat that combination as like, something that's, you want to keep your eye out. That would be a red flag. And he says there's no minimal risk for any investment, and he's true about that, right? Because when you invest in the stock market, there's volatility. So you can literally, I just realized it was snowing outside. Okay, sorry guys, I got distracted. But you can literally see your stocks go up and down. Like when Trump started with his tariffs, right? Right before the tariffs rolled out, it's like I can see what my portfolio did. Like it's like my portfolio performed according to whatever the economy was doing and what was happening overseas. And I had already rebalanced this time when it was happening. So I saw the dip that happened. I didn't lose much money, but I did lose some money, and that's just how it works when you're investing, right? The stocks and whatever you're in, the precious metals, whatever, the crypto, it ebbs and flows, right? It goes up and down. So yeah, when Trump was rolling out the tariffs, I saw a dip in my portfolio, but it wasn't a huge dip, and it wasn't a dip that was detrimental to my net worth or to any of my assets. So it kind of just was what it was.
There is no such thing as a low-risk investment, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency, which is inherently volatile. Experts note that scammers often rely on gradual trust building rather than immediate pressure. By allowing small withdrawals early on, scammers can convince victims that the platform is real. Once confidence is established, victims are encouraged to invest larger amounts. When victims attempt to withdraw substantial funds, new fees, taxes, or membership requirements are introduced to extract additional money. Smith says that looking back, the early success of the small investment was what convinced him to continue.
Scamming is really real out here. And I am one of the prime examples why I want to get this message out. People, be careful. Please. I'm in a terrible situation now because I have no other assets at this point. I'm letting it out. That was life savings.
He acknowledges that at the time, the process appeared legitimate and gave him no clear reason to suspect fraud. He says the scam was not obvious until the repeated payment demands made it impossible to access his money. Law enforcement agencies continue to warn the public about cryptocurrency investment scams, particularly those that begin on social media platforms. They advise individuals to be cautious of unsolicited investment advice, private investment opportunities, and platforms that require upfront payments to release funds. Smith says his goal in speaking out is to prevent others from experiencing the same situation. He urges people to be skeptical of online investment opportunities and to verify the legitimacy of any platform before transferring money. He says he hopes his experience will serve as a warning and encourage others to seek professional advice before making financial decisions involving cryptocurrency. The Better Business Bureau and other consumer protection organizations recommend researching investment platforms thoroughly, avoiding pressure to move conversations to private messaging apps, and being wary of requests for additional payments labeled as taxes or fees. They also advise reporting suspected scams as soon as possible to help authorities track and shut down fraudulent operations. Smith's case highlights how quickly an online interaction can escalate into a significant financial loss. What began as a conversation on social media ultimately resulted in the loss of tens of thousands of dollars. Authorities continue to investigate similar cases as cryptocurrency scams remain a growing threat to consumers.
All right, guys, we're going to move over to the next clip of the live stream. So shout out to that gentleman. Hopefully he can recoup, he can recover. It's a sad thing, especially when it happens to older people. You know, he's 58 years old. When this happens to you at that point in your life, it's... I'm not going to say you can't recoup. You know, I could ask my mentor, but I think at 58, he would probably say that's not something you want to be playing with. And I mean, $80,000, I wouldn't say that that's a lot, because if I had to compare that to like my mentor, that's probably not probably, that's not his entire life savings or even half of it. But for someone who doesn't have that much, and 80,000 was all he had, it's like, yeah, that's going to be pretty tough for him. You know, he was going to really have to like buckle down, work a little bit longer than what he wanted to, and definitely be pretty invested to recoup that money. All right, so let's go to CBS Evening News. Trump now says he had a CT scan, not an MRI, in October. Let's take a look at that.
At his Palm Beach estate, 2026 is the year he'll do something only one other president has done in office. He'll turn 80. In today's Wall Street Journal, Mr. Trump defends the state of his health, and his physician makes a clarification about the president's most recent checkup at O'Keefe in West Palm Beach near Mar-a-Lago.
Which is an MRI with part of the body. It runs in the brain.
President Trump insisted for months he had an MRI during his October visit to Walter Reed National Medical Center. But today, he and the White House physician, Sean Barbabella, revealed it was a CT scan done to definitively rule out any cardiovascular issues. The imaging results were perfectly normal, Barbabella said. But the revelation comes as Trump, the oldest man to ever assume the presidency at 79, has faced scrutiny about his health.
I think I'm in great shape.
The White House has insisted Trump's hands are bruised because he meets...
It's like the things that they're pointing out. Trump's hands are bruised. He's turning 80 years old. I'm like, dude, do you not understand that like Trump still hasn't done half the stuff that Biden was doing when he was in office? Like Trump hasn't done half. Like we do not see. I mean, yeah, someone could say, yeah, not right now, but we do not see President Trump falling up the steps, right? We don't see President Trump trying to exit the stage and he goes the wrong way, right? We're not seeing him like stumble in his speeches and start saying stuff that we're like, what is this guy talking about? So I just think it's interesting how much they're like trying to look for something.
It greets so many people.
The president is literally constantly shaking hands. The Oval Office is like Grand Central Terminal.
But he told the Wall Street Journal today it's because he takes too much aspirin, which can cause the bruising. And then he's ignored doctor recommendations. He switched from his current dose of 325 milligrams to a suggested lower dose. They say aspirin's good for thinning out the blood, Trump told the Journal, and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart. I want nice thin blood pouring through my heart. In July, the president saw doctors about swelling in his legs, which his physician called superficial chronic venous insufficiency, common in older adults when one-way valves and veins don't work properly.
I took my physical. I got all A's, everything.
And in recent months, he's been caught with his eyes closed during cabinet meetings and Oval Office events. But he told the Journal he blames trouble sleeping at night on photographers who take a picture of me blinking. And in recent months, he's been caught with his eyes closed during cabinet meetings and Oval Office events. But he told the Journal he blames trouble sleeping at night on photographers who take a picture of me blinking.
And Ed joins us live right now.
I'm like, the guy's 80 years old. This is hilarious. That picture that they have of him when he's sitting there with his eyes closed, but he looks like he's listening. Dude, if you ask my wife, I do that all the time. Like, I'm half of Trump's age and I do that. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, people are just so annoying. Like, the man's 80 years old. Of course, like, I'm surprised he's not I would be falling asleep. Like, if it was me, I'm sitting there like, dude, I do that now. Like, who cares about that? But they just, you know, I know 33-year-olds that because they don't get good sleep, if they sit still for 10 minutes, they start to fall asleep in the chair. Literally, I've watched my brothers do it at 24 years old. So you really think an 80-year-old man doing this means, oh my God, he's got dementia. It's like, shut up. That's so stupid.
Now, we've been hearing also, switching gears, a lot about the administration's actions when it comes to the cartels. Ed, what do you know in terms of what's next, potentially, when it comes to military action?
Well, Jarika, the Pentagon now says it struck 2 more alleged drug vessels on New Year's Eve. Wouldn't say where exactly they were struck or what they were carrying, other than to say that they were engaged in narco trafficking. 5 people were killed, according to the Pentagon. By our count, there have been 34 strikes on alleged drug boats, killing an estimated 115 people, either in the Caribbean Sea or the Eastern Pacific. Meanwhile, the U.S. continues its pursuit of sanctioned oil tankers traveling to and from Venezuela. The White House today disputed reports that one of the vessels it's pursuing is a Russia-protected ship, saying that the crew is part of a Venezuelan shadow fleet and is subject to prosecution. Jarika?
Ed O'Keefe Force in West Palm Beach, thank you.
I found myself where I needed to finish my education. I chose Purdue Global because the faculty under
All right, next let's go over to Trump changes something with USPS that affects mail ballots. We already know why he would be dipping and dabbing in this because of, you know, election results and how crooked elections can be in America. So let's take a listen.
The new year in doing this, but we have... This is Democracy Watch. Mark, first off, Happy New Year. Thanks for jumping on in the new year and doing this, but we have a really important story to cover here, something that I have not seen anything about as far as legacy media is concerned, and that is Donald Trump's new effort to meddle in this upcoming election. So can you explain what this new scheme that he's engaged in is?
Yeah, so this is really important, and in many respects is appropriate for the first video we do of the election year, because this is going to be a year in which we see voter suppression and election subversion at a scale and at a volume that we have not seen before. I mean, as the year begins, the Department of Justice is already involved in more than 20 lawsuits against blue states to try to access voter data, which you and I have done videos on before. And we know that Donald Trump hates mail-in voting. There is going to be a Supreme Court case later this year that I may very well argue in the Supreme Court involving mail-in voting, and it deals with the timing of ballots being received by states in order to count or be disqualified. Well, this new rule that the U.S. Postal Service has adopted sort of deals with this at the front end. And what it basically means for everyone watching this is that when you put your ballot, or for that matter, your tax return, or your letter to your friend in the drop it off at your local post office, it'll no longer be postmarked that day. And it is not guaranteed to be postmarked that day. It may very well not be postmarked to the next day or even the day after that. And so all of these reasons why the postmark matters, in the case of voting, most states or many states require ballots to be postmarked by Election Day to count. You could very well have cast your ballot before Election Day and not have it postmarked until after Election Day. And this will fit into Donald Trump's overall effort to delegitimize voting by mail, to argue that it's unreliable, and also the Republican Party's effort to disqualify hundreds of thousands of otherwise lawful votes by saying they're too late.
Okay, well, that raises the obvious question, first and foremost, in terms of triaging this. Is there any recourse here to go back to the status quo, where as soon as you send your ballot in, when it's received, it's postmarked so that we don't engage in all of these?
In Albion, no matter where you go or what you do, your mouth will accompany you on your journey. Perhaps.
Yeah, so what the U.S. Postal Service is saying is, don't worry, you can ask your local post office to postmark your piece of mail, which begs the question of what you have to ask. Why they don't just continue to postmark it, right? And it's not realistic for people who are casting mail-in ballots.
So, I mean, I guess this makes sense because now if you try to mail it out and it is postmarked after Election Day and it gets there, it's a good chance that that vote's not going to count. So it's like that's the way that he's going to try to attempt to get voter fraud down in the mail, because prior to that, even if it was postmarked after Election Day, it would still count because, you know, it was in the mail. So they would account for like weekends and like, you know, the mailman being sick or the mailman being switched or the mail being late a day or two or postponed for some reasons possible. Usually the mail is usually postponed due to inclement weather, so something like that. So it's interesting because with Trump changing that, it could be a legitimate vote, but if it's postmarked at like post election, then it's a good chance that when it gets there it won't count.
To know that they have to drop their ballot off and ask that it's postmarked. Like that's just a level of steps that people have to go through. They're already jumping through a lot of hoops.
Yeah, so now when they drop it off, they're going to have to, like that day, they're going to be like, hey, can you postmark this for me? Because if it's not, let's say they drop it, let's say it needs to be there in a day, right? The gentleman just said that it might not be postmarked that day, or it won't be. Maybe not the next day, maybe not even a day after that. So that means you could drop it off on the 5th, and there's a chance it cannot be postmarked until the 7th, which then it would be late by the time it got there anyway. So what you want to do is that now when you go, so he's creating an extra step. So if you're going to be lazy, then your vote's probably not going to count. So now when you go to the post office that same day, you want to say to the clerk, hey, can you mark this letter for today? And that's an interesting way to keep it down, but I mean, it's a start. You know, he said he would do it.
For their mail-in voting and their mail-in balloting, that it's going to be a trap that is going to disenfranchise, like I said, thousands upon thousands of people. And Brian, this is on top of it. You have to remember these efforts by the people who don't want you to cast mail-in ballots. They're multi-layered, because this is not happening in a vacuum. This is also happening at the same time that Republicans have attacked ballot drop boxes, right? One solution to this would be to say, look, let's just have ballot drop boxes, and then you don't have to worry about the post office at all. After all, they're secure metal containers, just like post office boxes are, and they get picked up directly by the election offices, so they're less, you're not going to have things lost, they'll move quicker, like you don't have to worry about any of those things. But of course, Republicans are attacking that, and as I mentioned, in the midst of all of this, the Republican National Committee has sued to actually make it impossible for states to count ballots that are postmarked by Election Day, but due to mail delays come in a day or two after the election. So they're sort of getting you at the front end and the back end in this pincer movement. And look, Brian, you and I have been doing this series now for hundreds upon hundreds of videos. And I hope everyone right now, goes and subscribes to this channel. If you have not yet figured out that in 2026, you are going to need accurate information and analysis about what is happening to democracy in court and what's happening to democracy in the broader culture. And I've just given up on the legacy media. I mean, if CBS's parent company finds another way to shovel goodies at the White House over 60 minutes, I mean, 60 minutes, Brian, is like literally the most successful news show on TV. And so far, the owners of CBS have paid $16 million to settle a bogus case. They did a softball interview with him in which they, published, they didn't ask certain questions, and the questions they did ask were not aired. Remember this with the transcript stuff? And now we got the Barry Weiss thing pulling back.
Stephen Colbert's show was canceled.
Oh, yeah, and the Byron Stephen Colbert. So, like, everybody's got to just click the subscribe button to this channel and hit the bell to make sure you're alerted. If you want to know what I rely on every day to stay informed, I rely by watching this channel. I mean, Brian will tell you, I'm always like, oh, so I watched this video, so why did you do it this way or that way? And so I watch it because it is a very good source for information that you're going to need in 2026.
I appreciate that. And I would add right now that if you're not yet subscribed to Democracy Docket, that is what I use, not only because it's a great outlet, fearless independent journalism, but oftentimes covers what legacy media won't. So the same issue that has plagued legacy media that we're seeing on full display, Mark's outlet rectifies all of that. So I'm going to put the link to Democracy Docket right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video.
We know legacy media is plagued because that's why we're not hearing anything. Like, why wouldn't we hear anything on MSNBC, CNN, Times, Forbes, anything about something dealing with mail-in ballots? Why wouldn't we need to know that as American citizens? But that's the thing. That's the reason why a lot of people don't watch mainstream media, and it's going down the drain the way that it is. All right, guys, so let's go to the second to last clip of the live stream.
This is probably the coolest thing I've seen for American gun owners. If you own a gun,
all of his beloved illegal aliens.
All right, shout out to Matt Morris TV. Matt Morris is a channel favorite. He is a GOAT over here. We react to Matt often over here. Been watching him for some time. Let's talk about some Somali fraud, illegal aliens. He has this covered, Trump's response to it. Let's take a listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, things have just gotten very bad, to say the least, for California Governor Gavin Newsom, to the tune of $160 million. But perhaps worst of all, as far as he's concerned at least, is that now all of his beloved illegal aliens are actually starting to turn on him. So folks, make sure to like today's video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is going to be a big one. Let's get right into today's report. You see, since January of 2019, when Newsom first became governor of California, he's actually given out over 17,000 commercial driver's licenses, CDLs, to illegal aliens and individuals that weren't adequately qualified, to say the least, more often than...
Mind you, Gavin Newsom is somebody who Cavacular says he would vote for over J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance basically looks like a fat troll. Like, this is hilarious to me. Gavin Newsom, dude, I don't have a problem with him. Like, he has his charismatic side, don't get me wrong. You know, he has the hair going for him. When he was younger, he played baseball. He was a complete stud. Like, we've seen the pictures. But I'm just like, dude, I don't know. Like, Gavin gives off, like, I don't know. I don't want to say Antichrist, but just weird. And 17,000 illegal aliens have a driver's license, a CDL. Like, really, Gavin? Like, really? And this is a possible 2028 presidential candidate. Okay.
And not people that can't even speak basic English, which means they also can't read basic road signs like, hey, no U-turns. Well, I don't know what that means. I don't speak English. You can see that this is a little bit of a problem. Now, as you've all heard by now, this has ultimately led to the deaths across the country of countless Americans because, as it would turn out, putting people that can't speak English or illegal aliens that can't speak English behind the wheel of an 80,000-pound semi-truck, well, this is a terrible idea. And as you all know, by the way, I think this goes without saying, but just to clarify, if an illegal alien that can't speak English gets a commercial driver's license in California, 17,000 of them have, they don't just stay in California. They're driving their 80,000-pound semi-trucks all the way over to New York or up to Washington, over to Texas or Florida, all across the country. So this is not a problem that is contained in California. It floods out, it overflows across the entire country, and we've seen dozens of Americans that have lost their lives as a consequence of Governor Gavin Newsom's incompetence and belligerence. And so this is why, for the last 4.5 months now, President Trump's Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has been absolutely cracking down on Gavin Newsom's California. In August, around 4 months ago, Secretary Duffy actually mandated that California had 30 days to conduct English proficiency tests for all of its CDL drivers. That's a pretty basic request. Hey, Gavin Newsom, let's make sure that all 17,000 of these commercial illegal alien CDL holders, that they actually speak English. Well, Gavin Newsom ignored them.
And I don't think, he just said Gavin Newsom ignored them, but I don't think that that's a bad request, a hard request, right? An aggressive request. Where in America, I think that's a pretty common and fair request. Let's make sure the 17,000 CDL licenses you gave out, they can speak English, because if they can speak English, then they should be able to read English, meaning they should be able to read all of the road signs, and we wouldn't be seeing semi-trucks being flipped on highways like we have been. But like he's about to say, Gavin Newsom ignored it.
The request, all 17,000 of these commercial illegal alien CDL holders, that they actually speak English. Well, Gavin Newsom ignored the request. So in October, Transportation Secretary Duffy made the decision to withhold $40 million worth of federal funding from California after Gavin Newsom refused to comply with and enforce the English proficiency tests. California just said, well, we're not going to do that. Then, in November, right around 2 months ago, Secretary Duffy said that Newsom now has to rescind and take back all 17,000 of these CDLs because they're failing to make sure that these people can even speak English, and that these CDLs have to be rescinded and taken back by January 5th, which is, check the calendar, 4 days from now. And if they don't do that, they are going to lose $160 million worth of additional federal funding, ultimately putting that value at $200 million worth of federal assistance in total that California is set to lose. So, obviously,
$200 million in aid, all because Gavin Newsom doesn't want to make sure only 17,000 people can speak and read English. That's just ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying. And this is supposed to be a 2028 presidential candidate. I'm just saying, like, we got to pay attention to this stuff now, because 2028 isn't that far away.
To say the least, things are starting to get very bad for California Governor Gavin Newsom. But somehow, things have actually managed to get even worse for California Governor Gavin Newsom, because now all of the illegal aliens that he had originally supported and empowered and coddled, really, have now actually ended up turning on him. They have betrayed him. You see, in response to Secretary Duffy's order to shut down all of these illegal alien CDLs, all 17,000 of them, the illegal aliens themselves are actually suing the Gavin Newsom administration, demanding that he actually give them another 2 months to get their CDL situations sorted, as if they're all going to be able to learn how to speak proper English and get legal immigration status in the next 2 months. That's not going to happen. Also, by the way, to be specific, the immigrant rights group that is suing the Newsom administration is called the Jakara Movement, which, according to their website, works to, quote, empower, educate, and organize working class Punjabi Sikhs from India. Folks, you cannot make this stuff up, just like the Founding Fathers had envisioned for our country, right? Yeah, I don't think so. Now we have illegal immigrant rights groups suing administrations and governments that dare to stand up to them. This is...
Let me introduce you to my creative assistant, Claude. Claude is an AI collaborator.
Insane. But so, ladies and gentlemen, this is what Gavin Newsom has done in response. You see, to avoid this lawsuit, he's actually capitulated. He has surrendered to the Punjabi Sikhs, and he has gone ahead and granted them an extra 2 months to get their situation sorted, or to try to get their situation sorted. That said, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy isn't going along with it. He's not playing these games. Thank God. In fact, just earlier, maybe a day and a half or 2 days ago, Sean Duffy posted this in response to this entire situation. He said, Gavin Newsom is lying. The deadline to revoke illegally issued unvetted foreign trucker licenses is still January 5th. California does not have an extension to keep breaking the law and putting Americans at risk on the roads. If you miss this deadline, Gavin Newsom, and the U.S. Department of Transportation will act, including by cutting nearly $160 million in federal funding.
Missed the deadline, Gavin. Yeah. Yeah, see how they wrote that? It says, miss the deadline, Gavin, and this is what the U.S. Department of Transportation is going to do. I think this is extremely incompetent. Like, if he does this, this is not good. Because we're talking about only 17,000 people, and you're willing to risk $160 million for 17,000 people. I don't think that that's smart. Because it's not like they're... Now, in Gavin Newsom's defense, right? Not that I want to give him one, but he could be thinking about this administration and ICE and all of the things that he's seen, and he could be saying, so what's there to say that if I go back and I check these people, that's not going to somehow flag some weird system that you guys have or within your ICE system, and now you're going after the people who don't do so well in English because now you know that they've been driving and they can't really read, or they can't really read the signs. So that could be one reason why he's not complying. Right, because he wants to protect those people in his state. I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm just saying that knowing Gavin Newsom and how he talks at his press conferences and when he's in front of the public, and when he's in the public square, that's very much something I can hear him saying, that he's trying to protect people. So that's why he's not complying. Nonetheless, we have seen some pretty harsh, nasty accidents on the road since the flood of illegal immigrants in the United States. So he also has to be very mindful of that when he's answering the question.
And so, folks, now California Governor Gavin Newsom really has a very serious decision to make. He can either revoke all of these commercial driver's licenses that are being held by these 17,000 illegal aliens in the next 4 days, and then he can keep the $160 million in federal funding as well, but he will also get destroyed and betrayed by all of his beloved California state illegal aliens, or he can give the illegal alien Punjabis an extra 2 months and lose the $160 million worth of federal funding. And by the way, let's put all of this into context here. Gavin Newsom right now, he has presidential aspirations. He wants to become the president of the United States of America in 2028. This entire situation is very bad for Gavin Newsom because right now he's also, if you've noticed, he's trying to posture himself as being the #1 progressive champion in the country. He's the champion of the progressive movement. He's going to fight on behalf of all of these illegal aliens. So I think it's fair to say, as far as Governor Gavin Newsom is concerned, the chickens have sort of come home to roost. Things are not going the way he had envisioned them going. He's between a rock and a hard place, and personally, I love to see it. But now, folks, while we're talking about all of the insanity that is unfolding inside of the state of California, right now, San Francisco is actually trying to give each and every single black resident in the city a $5 million reparations check. I kid you not. The only problem is that they quite literally do not have the money. Take a look.
However, paying for it may take some creative accounting. As the New York Post reports, the city's admitting it can't sign the checks as it's facing a $1 billion deficit.
You hear that? The city of San Francisco currently has a $1 billion deficit. And then, of course, we've all seen that over the last 6 years, really since Gavin Newsom got in charge of the state, over $70 billion have just gone missing. Literally, no one has any idea where the money has gone. It has just disappeared. And much of that is federal funding, by the way, which means it's coming out of your pocket and my pocket. This is insanity, but you know what? Let's be charitable, okay? It is January 1st. It's a new year. Maybe California is going to turn a new leaf. Maybe they're going to start to get their state back on track. Well, actually, no, that's not going to happen. In fact, take a look at this. Starting today, January 1st, 2026, California, illegal aliens now have access to free government-paid health care, where providers are prohibited from asking for their immigration status. Medi-Cal, California already provides free limited. Has any idea where it's our deficit? 6 years, really, since Gavin Newsom got in charge.
We have to ask ourselves, why would he put something like that out there? Is he putting it out there for fame, right? Is he putting it out there for his favorability rating to jump amongst black voters by the time 2028 comes, right? Because if you're saying that you want to give each person in San Francisco $5 million, but you are admitting that they're too broke to do that, then what's the point of even putting that out there? Because if you're too broke to do that, then that's obviously not going to happen, right, Gavin Newsom?
Charge of the state. Over $70 billion have just gone missing. Literally, no one has any idea where the money has gone. It has just disappeared. And much of that is federal funding, by the way, which means it's coming out of your pocket and my pocket. This is insanity, but you know what? Let's be charitable, okay? It is January 1st. It's a new year. Maybe California is going to turn a new leaf. Maybe they're going to start to get their state back on track. Well, actually, no, that's not going to happen. In fact, take a look at this. Starting today, January 1st, 2026, California, illegal aliens now have access to free government-paid health care, where providers are prohibited from asking for their immigration status. Medi-Cal, California already provides free unlimited health care for illegal aliens. Today, medical providers are now prohibited from asking about their immigration status. This is highway robbery in the billions.
Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in a hadith Qudsi, Allah will say on the day of resurrection, O son of Adam, I asked you for drink, but you did not provide for me. And he will say, my Lord, how can I give you drink when you are the Lord of the world? Allah will reply, my servant asked you for a drink, but you did not provide it for him. And had you given it to him, you would have found me with him. Right now, in Gaza, millions of people are suffering just because they don't have water. I don't need to tell you the realities. You know that they are walking for miles just to fetch water. And Alhamdulillah, humanity is answering their call. And you can answer the call too. Allah bless humanity and the team, and allow them to be a means to...
So, folks, to say the least, as you can see here, California pretty much has every single financial problem imaginable, and their solution, which is just insane, is not to try to fix the problems and balance their budget. No, it's just to keep digging themselves deeper, further into the hole. But so really, ladies and gentlemen, here is the big takeaway of today's broadcast. If given the chance, and I want you to remember this, if given the chance, what is currently going on in California? CDLs for illegal aliens, billions of dollars worth of racial reparations. By the way, California was never even a slave state. This does not make sense at all. It never makes sense, but this is just totally nonsensical. And then on top of that, free health care for illegal aliens, all of this stuff, this is what the Democrats, this is what the far-left radical progressives want across the entire country. Mind you, this is what would be happening across the entire country if we had a, God forbid, President Kamala Harris and Vice President Tim Walz. Can you imagine the situation we would currently be in? And of course, Who's going to get stuck paying for all of this should they succeed? Well, it's going to be hardworking, American tax-paying citizens like you and like me, because we are the people that get stuck footing the bill every single time. It's a travesty. And then, of course, if we ever tried to cut all of the illegal aliens off of their taxpayer-subsidized free ride, if we ever try to put a stop to this, the illegal aliens, they will just collectivize, like we're seeing in California with these Punjabi Sikhs from India, and then they're just going to start suing everyone, which is exactly what they're doing right now. They've turned on their own Gavin Newsom. They're infighting. So here's what I will say. Thank God, ladies and gentlemen, that we have a president, we have an administration in the White House right now that is willing to stand up and actually put an end to all of this stuff like we are seeing. Right now, they're about to rip another $160 million in federal funding from California. They already ripped $40 million away. They just ripped $185 million away from Minnesota. That is what we need to see if we actually want to put America first.
The world's first titanium non-stick pan. And blow your hair back. I'm Mike McGale, 3 Michelin chef, and I've been cooking for 25 years. You like badass shit? Well, here you go. This is the coolest innovation of our lifetime. The non-stick surface is made with titanium. There's no coating on it. You can't scratch it. Not to mention there's no Teflon in it. I got this pan because it's beautiful, but it's also indestructible. Your car's gonna break down before this thing. Your house will probably fall apart before this thing. This is also the only non-stick pan in the world that you can scrub.
Let me just ask, what do you get? Folks, Blackout Coffee. Y'all love the shooting video that we did on Charlie Kirk so much, by the way. Depending on when this one goes out, we've got another one coming out with frangible rounds. Yes, we found them. Yes, we paid a ton of money for them. But it's going to be worth it. But we're starting a shooting channel. Me and a buddy. Link to that channel is going to be below. Us testing frangible 30-06 rounds, which is just a wild thing to even say. Why would you even want those? It's going to be on that channel. So make sure you're subscribed. It's going to be an awesome one. So folks, depending on when this gets out, it's either the end of the year or New Year's. And if it's New Year's, Happy New Year. Hopefully this year's better than last. That's not going to take much. But you know, at the end of the year, there's one thing that comes to everybody's mind, and it's taxes. It's not a happy thought. It's usually, oh, dude, it's time to do that again. You know, it'd be great if we just had a certain time in America where we didn't pay taxes. Now, why do we hate paying taxes other than just paying them in general? Maybe it's because we give so many of them to other countries. So, while this whole Charlie Kirk thing has been going on, check this out. The House recently passed a massive $900 billion defense bill in December of 2025, which includes significant funding and support for Israel, especially for missile defense like Iron Dome and enhancing defense tech, alongside aid for Ukraine. Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's exactly what we want to see at the end of our year. Just shove off more money into other countries instead of, I don't know, take care of some of the stuff that we can fix here with not that much money. Okay? I'm just going to put this up for everybody really quick. All right, so I got ChatGPT up here. Would you look at that? First one. Fix the border and immigration system. $100 to $150 billion. Finish physical barriers and advance surveillance where it actually works. Yeah. Where are we at with that?
Even when it says end veteran homelessness, I'm like, how long has that been a thing, right? Like, how long have we been saying as a country we want to end that for our veterans that fight for the country, and we still haven't even done anything with that?
Where are we at with mass deportations? We'll get to that in a second. End veteran homelessness and transform VA care. Wouldn't that be a great thing? $50 to $75 billion. This is not that much money. We are paying every single year into our government trillions of dollars in taxes. And it takes $50 to $75 billion to end veteran homelessness and transform VA care. But we're sending it to Israel and Ukraine. Rebuild infrastructure, fix healthcare, fix education, restore public safety in major cities, $50 to $75 billion. Everybody gets the point. And to end the year off, we find out that there is another leak of our tax dollars. By the way, the Pentagon has failed another test as far as accounting goes.
Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG in which you write your own story instead of following a laid-out path. Explore a vast open world. Everything you do has an impact on Albion's player-driven economy. Every piece of equipment is crafted by players from resources gathered by players. The equipment you wear defines who you are. Switching from knight to magician is as easy as swapping your armor and weapon, or be a combination of the two. Venture deep inside dungeons on your own or with a group of companions. Explore realms beyond Albion, teeming with treasures and resources. But beware of dangers lurking in the shadows. Relax by retreating to your personal island, where you can build a home, grow crops, and raise animals. Grab a fishing pole and head for Albion's rivers, lakes, and oceans. Join a guild, play together, take part in massive player versus player matches, and claim your piece of the world. This is Albion Online.
What would it feel like to wake up on your terms, work from anywhere, and actually enjoy what you do? Well,
imagine that. The hell do you guys do? So here we go. This is insane.
Nutrition program into their personal bank account. The defendants, many of Somali descent, turned the federal child nutrition program into their personal bank account. And wire transfers, moving the stolen taxpayer money to China and East Africa. Another alleged fraud scheme is raising red flags, this time in Maine.
Yeah, what makes it even worse is out in Minnesota, that young YouTuber who was going around to the Somali child care centers. At one point, you see a guy, like you see someone making a phone call to a daycare center. Like they're calling the number that they see on front of the daycare center, and it literally goes to Tim Walsh's office. And I'm thinking to myself, yep, here we go. Not surprising there.
Are striking similarities to the case in Minnesota. In this instance, a Somali American, Dr. Abdullah Ali, the executive director of Gateway Community Services, is accused of defrauding the state's Medicaid program.
You shouldn't be able to rob taxpayers of millions of dollars and just get away with it.
Critics accuse him of leadership of...
I'm sorry, that's funny. I mean, isn't that what our government does to us every single day? Now it's just Somalians. Add Somalians to the damn list, and then we'll just, I don't know, we'll just keep making a list until every single American just pretty much says, fuck it, move to Colombia. Start our own country. We'll call it USA number 2. Here's a guy talking about the fraud in the Midwest.
Bro, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I knew about the Somali shit 20 years ago. I had my son 20 years ago. I went to go get Section 8. Drove down to the Section 8 office in Columbus, Ohio, and guess who the fuck I seen? All Somalis in the parking lot. They were there for 8 hours already. Had tents and shit, vans. They had fucking tents. They had their vans parked in the parking lot and made tents. It's first come, first serve when you go to get help from the government. When you need aid, when you need financial aid. First come, first serve, you gotta wait behind a fucking 100 Somalians. I'm American, bitch.
Check this out. Remember when Joe Biden so graciously had, well, hired, I don't know how many IRS agents, 80-something thousand? I don't know what's been going on with that. But remember when they came out with the whole thing? If you get a transfer of over $600, you must report it to the IRS. Okay, this is for Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. Oh, sweet. But we've got Somalians ripping us off for billions of dollars. What are they even doing here? What are they doing here? Are they citizens? If the answer is no, you have non-citizens who are imported here to essentially vote Democrat. Let's just be honest. Then they're stealing our money, so they're like a second government, except they don't do anything for the country. And on top of it, they're here illegally. Do we call ourselves a country? Or is this just like a handout? Come to the soup kitchen, grab whatever you want. By the way, it's illegal for...
Most people do hate the soup kitchen analogy, but it sounds bad. But that's when heavy duty paints this country, that's kind of what it seems like, you know. Is that just what they're here for? Is that all that you want? Like, to just come here and just kind of get whatever you could get, but stay within your own little community.
For you to even be in here, but we'll look the other way. Also, if you can vote Democrat, thanks.
A bunch of old homeless dudes had an orgy in the car. Oh, God. Yeah. You know what it's called when they do that in there? It's called a soup kitchen. It's pretty rough stuff.
And you expect Americans to do what? Oh, yes, Uncle Sam. You will definitely get my taxes on time. Oh, yes, Uncle Sam. My taxes will definitely not be redacted like the Epstein files. Is that what you expect? Like, where's the give and take? Or are we just in like a... Guys, give us your money. We're the big government, so we know how to spend it. Okay, we know. We're the big government. Okay, and if you have a problem with it, just shut up. So look, I'm not a big Matt Walsh guy because he works for Ben Shapiro, and I think he should get his own show and stop working for Ben Shapiro. But he was very right on this point.
I was dumping on the Somalians way before it was cool. Am I proud of that? I absolutely am.
So by their numbers, Somalians contribute less than $900 a person to local and state taxes combined. I'm sure you understand that is incredibly low. That's actually lower than I thought it would be. I assumed that it would be something very low. But if you had asked me to guess, I would have said, oh, they probably, on average pay a couple thousand. I don't know. I was optimistic. I was dumping on the Somalians way before it was cool. Am I proud?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's minimum wage, right? I don't know. But it's not much money for an entire year of taxes. You know what's funny about this? This governor of Minnesota who ran for, what was it, vice president? Of course, he's the president of the state where they're doing this.
All right, so a lot of this jackass Minnesota is centered around daycares. And now they're claiming
this is so stupid, man. Daycare?
I'm just going to start showing you some of these examples here, but basically Columbus is home to the nation's second largest Somali community behind Minnesota. There's about 60,000 Somali Americans in Columbus, and there's 500 Somali-owned businesses. And if you're not caught up on this, the FBI is now investigating this fraud in Minnesota. They say that it might reach up to $9 billion, one of the largest Medicaid frauds in American history. And federal officials have portrayed the Somali community as a hotspot for fraud.
Oh, my Lord. So I have an answer. Deport them all tomorrow. Okay? Let's stop having meetings with Netanyahu and deport all of the illegal immigrants tomorrow. You know, like the big threat Donald Trump made, like if you don't deport yourself, we're going to just send you wherever? Why don't we just send them all to some abandoned island somewhere and make them eat coconuts and fish for the rest of their life? No, it's cool because they're not white, so they can do this. Give me a break. So like I said, this is kind of cherry on top of, the year. How many times has Netanyahu been to the White House this year? 5 times? Where's my invite? Come on, I'll even dress the same as you, dude, because now that's what Netanyahu's doing. You guys look like twins. Is this what we're doing now? This is a show. Why don't you just get them a room? 5 times in 1 year? What else can we do for them? We give them billions of dollars of our tax money a year. I mean, this is just a flip off to the American people at this point. Billions of dollars a year. We bombed Iran for them. We made a ceasefire between them and Hamas in order to get their hostages back, and they didn't keep it. They are still bombing Gaza. And here we are, a couple of pals, man. Come on over. Dinner's on me. Wear the same tie. Stupid.
If they will continue with the missiles, yes. The nuclear, fast. Okay. One will be yes, absolutely. The other was, we'll do it immediately.
I don't even know what they're talking about. So like I said, we gotta finish with this. This is, I'm getting pissed here. Keep it together here. Trump has him over the
I said this earlier. It was funny to watch this part when he said he was getting pissed because he's trying his hardest not to like get upset about it.
Fast. Okay. One will be yes, absolutely. The other was we'll do it immediately.
I don't even know what they're talking about. So like I said, we got to finish with this. This is, I'm getting pissed here. Keep it together here. Trump has him over to the White House again for whatever, their powwow or to have crumpets and tea or...
Yeah, he's already not happy with it just simply because of how it's been. Netanyahu's been to the White House this year, what, I think 4 to 5 times? I said 3 to 5, but he's been there quite often. And, yeah, it's driving people crazy. It is. It's driving people crazy. But this is what we've seen. We just got to keep following it and see. Trump gets his Israel reward. They've never given it to an American, so that's a big deal for our president. And we could just continue to pray for him and hope he does the right thing. Well, shout out to you guys for hanging out with me. I will be back in a couple hours for the daily live stream. So until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Love yourselves. Love one another and be peaceful.